magnetic fields, right? Those get interrupted. They get smaller. They allow more to penetrate. Thus, allows us to get higher doses of sun energy, radiation, whatever you want to call it. And we start to act, differently, right? But
how is it affecting you? How has it affected you so far? So we're talking about the 8/8 portal that just happened a few days ago. How did that affect you?
Well, prior to it, I had no idea that it was happening. Like at 8/8 was right around the corner. Lionsgate was coming, but I started feeling wonky, like almost like sober drunk. Like I had been like laughing for so long, and then you finally get out of the laugh, and you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
just weird moments of exiting laughter or tiredness or just a ram up of energy.
Because I saw you a few days before, right? Like, I think like the 6th or something like that, a couple days before, and you were telling me about at one point you heard like a ringing sound in one of your ears.
Yes, yeah. So the things like that, ringing in the ear. But it wasn't just one time. I mean, I was cutting your hair, and I was like, wow, we're talking about this podcast. And so automatically, I start thinking, okay, there's something here, and then I had another situation, when it comes to ringing of the ears. I mean, if I'm, in the HEB and getting ready to buy some food that's probably not good for me, and I get a ringing in the ear,
Yeah.
I was getting ready to get some popsicles, right, one time,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, ringing in the ear. I was like, yeah, okay, we're not going to have popsicles. All right, universe, we're not having popsicles. But I look at it like that, but I'm still trying to figure it out, what it means. I ask questions, and I try and do investigative work in my head when it happens.
Yeah.
At the same time, trying to make sure that I'm taking that download, hearing that ringing, and letting it resonate as long as possible.
Okay.
Even memorizing the pitch of it, like just so things like that would happen. Lionsgate, like, when you're getting,
So you're taking it as like some sort of intuitive nudge or notification that you need to pay attention. Maybe it's something with regards to like your current actions. Like
correct.
Maybe you're doing something,
Yeah.
and it's like, maybe rethink that.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And it's not just because of Lionsgate, but I feel like after going sober, more and more I started becoming more and more in tuned with things outside, like just the outside world. Like I just feel like there's something out there pushing me, pulling me, signaling me.
You said afterwards.
Yeah,
Like
like
after
it's just like.
What made you go
let's
sober?
Let's just say afterwards, like maybe it was happening before, but being sober allowed me to hear better, right? When you start getting all
Yeah.
these chemicals out of your body.
Maybe you were drowning it out before.
Right. I felt like that was a big factor in it. And so it helped me continuing to like keep my ear open, right? If I drink, that means the ear closes and I can't hear anymore. So it's another incentive for me to continue being sober.
And so afterwards, you became more sensitive. You
Right.
started to hear. You started to connect more with, I guess, everything. It
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
like.
with everything. Just, and I'm already a curious person to begin with, right? And so I start picking up on things like that, and there were life-changing things that occurred, right? I mean, over the course of time, things that would allow me to maintain my, composure when I had traumatic things going on in my life, and having that notion that some things telling me everything's going to work itself out, and then following through and going the course and enduring the pain,
Yeah.
knowing that something good is going to happen, like something I'll be taken care of, things will work themselves out, and they typically do, and they did for me. And and so I continued. Like, I will give me some more. Like, I want to know more. I want to know, what else have I been drowning out, right?
So why did you why did you decide to get sober in the first place?
So I was going through a period in my life to where I was just out of control. I think I was just I became I was divorced recently, and my kids weren't with me because they were something that they grounded me.
Yeah.
So if they're not around, well, there's nobody to be good for or to be a role model for. And I started picking up on that. I'm just out here being a mess while I wait for the 2 days that I get out of 2 weeks to show my best, and have them feel good a certain way in those 2 days time that I have with them. But as time went on, I felt like I don't know, call it intuition again. Like I felt like something was going to change. And if I didn't change, a great shame would be put upon me.
Oh.
Okay. Cause kids at a certain age, they pick up like, drunk dad at home. It's like, they don't know that bottle you're drinking or alcoholic beverage is doing anything to the environment or anything like that.
You wanted to be a better role model.
Yeah.
Like.
I wanted to I don't want to be one of those people that are do as I say, not as I do. So I knew that was coming. And how I started knowing that was coming as well was, good old magic mushrooms as well.
Yeah, you've told me about. So I've known you for, I guess, a few years now.
Yeah.
And you've been my barber.
Yeah.
I've stayed usually I'll go barber. I wouldn't be as loyal to different barbers, but you were so interesting and cool. And I'm like, all right, let's stick to this guy here. He does a pretty good job, but he's also at the same time, you're sort of you're very wise and knowledgeable, and just your awareness is very large. Just you see things that most other people don't see.
Right.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I find it very cool. I think it's very cool too. I'm curious. That's why it makes me so curious. But at the same time, it's an Achilles heel. And I think I've talked to you about that before, where it's I'm a truth seeker, right? And so I want to know why things are the way that they are.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I do. But you'd be surprised. A lot of people don't want to know the truth.
That, I was, with my previous guests, we were talking about that, and we kind of came to the conclusion that they're like that because they're in a mode they're in survival mode. They're just trying to survive and live and it seems like they don't want to do anything beyond just they don't have the bandwidth to ask the bigger questions just yet. They're like, oh, don't tell me about the aliens. If the aliens aren't going to pay my bills, I don't want to know about it. I'm in survival mode, and they are they're closed to everything else.
Right.
During that.
Yeah. Or maybe they didn't have a good family upbringing to teach them how to be self-aware, right? Sure. If you've got a can of greatness and nobody tells you how to open it, you probably let that can sit there for, for as long as it can. Even if maybe it didn't, there wasn't a label on it and that was the only thing in the room. But you're too busy, either drinking or you've got family violence and you're just stressed out by bills and, you're not even looking for ways to save yourself because you just think that paying the bill is going to save you. Sometimes letting the fucking bill go will save you. Sometimes doing something different than what you've been locked into, right? Breaking the cycle,
That's true.
If the bill is you're a slave to it, well, then fuck that bill. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just for sanity purposes, you got to and I think a lot of people do that in their jobs, I've been through, I've had corporate job before. I haven't been a barber all my life. So I worked for AT&T 10 years and in other jobs I've had before too. But, I worked in the oil field. But mostly when I was with AT&T, I noticed a lot of people couldn't get out of that. And they felt that the whole notion of, well, where else am I going to go? I hate this job. Where else am I going to go? Who else is going to take me in? And it's it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of balls. It takes a lot of, you got to tell yourself you're going to be okay. I guarantee you will go through a low.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are afraid. I don't want to go through that. I don't want to go through
it's that fear.
Starting over. Yeah, it sucks to start over. You don't have anything. It's to some degree, right?
No,
some people are better at saving, But it's like let's just say you just bought a house, right? I mean, you just lost a job right afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the same thing I try to tell these younger kids that come in with, you know, to get haircuts is, you know, they want to buy cars. They want to have this very nice thing. And it's like, man, you ain't even like mastered having a job consistently for, you know, maybe a year or something. But you're already going to go, as soon as you get 1 year under your belt, you're going to go and buy a nice car that costs you $600, $700, maybe $1,000. Then you add, you know, there's $600. And now you're a slave to the car.
Yeah.
And then guess what? When you lose that job, because when you
realize like they're putting themselves in a position where they have to work. It's like yeah, like you said, they become that slave to whatever it is they're attaching their happiness to.
Yes, whatever they're attaching the because it's the ego, right? Then we can that's a whole nother topic right there. The ego is what I need this car because it says who I am.
Yeah,
right. It makes me feel like I am somebody. Rather than you look within and say, I am somebody, I don't need that.
Have you ever reached that point in your life where you're just like, maybe you look.
So yeah, I mean, okay. I grew up with so when I grew up, I always tried to be super cool.
Okay.
Ego was I was born with an ego, man. Like me and my mom just did not get along. Like I was like, just everything had to be cool. My hair had to be cool. My walk had to be cool. My talk had to be cool. I had to put people in check, like as far as like maybe conversation goes. Like it's part of, you know, area that I grew up in too, right? Has a play in it, but yeah, ego, super ego, right? So I wanted to be cool. I wanted to have the coolest things, right? I want to have the hottest chick. I want to have the hottest car. I want to have, you know, and so I know how it feels. And now that I'm at this age, you know, I'm like, man, you know, you know, of course I know, I guess, you know, you're young and it's just, I look back and I'm like, could I go back in time and tell myself, hey man, you don't need this? And then I'd look at myself and be like, what do you?
Yeah.
You're crazy,
yeah.
Man. Come on, man. Of course I want that. Of course I want that chick. Of course I want this, you know, money. Of course I want, you know, what are you talking about? Like, dude, shut up. Like,
but you probably got all the stuff that you thought you wanted and then realized that wasn't necessarily, that wasn't it. You needed something else.
Yeah. Yeah. I was listening to somebody and you know, the consciousness out there is, you know, I think his name's Federico Fagan. And I just started listening to him, and he just popped up out of nowhere. And I'm like, where is this? How have I not heard of this guy sooner? But he goes off to say that consciousness is it's the wanting to know thyself. Okay? When you start to want to know thyself, like you start uncovering, you know, layers and layers of things that you start realizing that none of this stuff really, you know, this is a matrix. None of this stuff matters. And when you look within yourself, you start to understand, hey, I'm in charge of making myself happy, angry, you know, all the emotions I'm capable of just, you know, I can get mad right now if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? I can get super like, hey, you know, like super sensitive and like tell you all my feelings and break down and, you know, we can do those things. I mean, some may be better at it than others, but, you know, if we let our guards down and we can do those things. But for some reason, the person that couldn't open up that can, like I was talking about, goodness of just learning how to look within, right? Self-analysis. Is it me that's the problem? Oh, no, you can't say, like, that's the truth right there, by the way. When I speak to people and tell them the truth, it's like, say, for instance, an alcoholic. We were just talking about alcoholics.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, oh, so I'll bring myself into that. After a fight with my ex-wife, or, you know, at the end of it, you know, we'd just be like yelling at each other. She'd be, you know, out and about doing her thing, and I, you know, and we'd just be, you know, calling each other names and just, you know, being really ugly to each other. Okay. And then I call my mom and I'm telling her, you know what she did and this and that, and you know, I can't believe this, and she did this, and I'm like, and she's like, Chris. And I talked to my mom. I would ramble for a good, you know, 15, 20 minutes trying to explain the story and how it wasn't, you know, what she did, right? And she goes, Chris, have you been drinking? And I'm like, what's that got to do with anything? What does that have? And then I look now, if I tell somebody who had a similar situation or something going on with them, I'm like, were you drinking? Because that tells everything. Maybe you shouldn't have had that. If you're not right up here, you probably shouldn't be messing with this.
For sure.
Because even on the labels, it says will impair judgment, you know?
For sure.
Right? You're going to call somebody probably something you shouldn't be calling them. You know, you're going to key a car one day. I don't know. You're going to slash a tire. I don't know. You know, you could kill somebody. You know, a lot of things can happen. But back to the point, right? Like the point is like, were you drinking? Was it you? And then like, how did I react? What are you talking about, Mom? It's not the drink. It's not, you know. Yeah, it is. It is. You don't want to look at it. You don't want to look within yourself to see if maybe perhaps you were.
And the hard part is like a lot of the times people confuse their ego for who they are.
Yes.
And maybe like, you know, when you were at that state where you're just drinking all the time, you're thinking like, oh, this is me. This is who I am. Like,
right.
You don't really know the real you.
Right. Like, and so for some, with like the me is like, I don't take shit from people. That's me. I don't take shit from nobody.
Yeah.
Right.
So you believe that was you? That was.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's part of what I mean. But I mean, if you go and you uncover, a lot of people feel the same way too. Yeah. You know, like when they're drinking and it brings out that you know, I'm not willing to compromise.
So how do you identify the real you? Like when you're impaired by drinking, that's not you. Or like if you're in a state of fear or depression or anxiety, that probably isn't you either. That's just a program or just something just running in your mind that isn't necessarily you. Is it based on emotional states? Like fear definitely isn't. I feel like if you're in a state of fear, that's not the true you. Like I feel like our natural state is like maybe love or just a higher emotion.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Try a little bit different way of asking it. Like, what do you like? Ask it one more time, so I can kind of hone in on it.
How do you know? Like, how do you know who you are, and like, what's the true version of you? Like,
right. So there you go. Like, that's a good question. Know thyself. If you start earlier on, it's like you will constantly get updates. You're upgraded throughout the course of life. You understand? Like I'm a different person because I've had, you know, the sober upgrade.
Yeah. Right.
I had the stop smoking upgrade. Right. I had the slowing down on caffeine upgrade. Okay. You know, you can adapt the listening upgrade more. Right. And so eventually, as you evolve, you start to learn yourself more and more, and it continues.
So you strip away layers. It sounds like until you're just at that core you. You just start getting rid of stuff, getting rid of those vices, those attachments.
Right. If you're somebody who starts when you start, excuse me, that's my dyslexia right there. When you start, where did I start this journey? Maybe at 39, 40.
Okay.
You know, yeah, that's what happens because I've already had all those habits, right? Like, but it's different for somebody who's young, right? Who's starting out, and they start to learn how to read themselves and understand that they are going to go through little points of depression, and I think it starts out by learning, I'm feeling kind of weird. What is it? What is this? And then, you know, sometimes, you know, like, you know, you have a kid that starts smoking at an early age, and, you know, we're in a day and age where smoking has become very, you know, look, I think even the president was talking about recently how they're going to lower it to a class of 1. I think they're lowering the class as far as it, you know, as far as like how harsh they come down on you when it comes to law. They just mentioned it, I think, yesterday.
Like weed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So when I say smoking, I mean weed. Okay. And you know, when a young person starts to smoke weed, and I mentioned that because, you know, there's a lot of people out there that smoke. I mean, you know, I know plenty of people that smoke, and I don't think that they're like crazy or they're just worthless or So right But I do think at a certain age you should be introduced to it. If I'm sorry, let me take that back. I think at a certain age, you should be restricted from it, not introduced, but restricted, right? Just like alcohol, you wait till you're 21. Why? Well, because people got out of hand at 18, because it used to be 17 or 18, I think, at one point.
Okay.
And they started doing things to change that. And same thing I feel about, because it's development, it's self-development. Like you're at an age to where your hormones are kicking in like crazy, and you add drugs or alcohol to that, like it's just nuts. And so for your ability to understand yourself, alcohol waters it down, is my point.
I see.
So you're missing the opportunity to become a strong, mentally strong as you become 18, right? Because that's when you start driving and you getting out of the house more often.
Maybe people want to have that. Like, I'm going to go drink. I'm just going to have fun and enjoy myself.
Right.
But maybe they take it too far, you think?
Yeah.
Or they stick with it too long or get an addiction.
Right. So by holding out till they're 18, or what do you mean?
No, I mean, maybe they want to try it because they're just peer pressure. There's like something.
Oh, yeah. Their friends doing it.
Yeah.
Their parents may be doing it.
But you're just saying, like, have fun, but don't make that an everyday thing. Don't get addicted to it.
Right.
Let go of it at some point.
Right. Young people don't know how to handle addictions. Okay, so they don't know they haven't learned themselves enough to where if you learn yourself enough to where you give yourself a good history, right? And then all of a sudden you start doing drugs, right? There's a timeline of you being sober, and that means that when you start doing drugs and things, whatever may happen, if you feel like something's going on, maybe you're not happy at that point, at least you have a reference point to look back and be like, hey, I used to be happier before I started this. You have a chance, in other words, to recognize that.
I see.
But if you don't, and you haven't even learned to be self-aware, then you will grow into an adolescent adult, because you're not emotional. Like, boys and girls grow up different, in my opinion. Okay. So girls need to grow up, in my opinion, to become emotionally mature.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're going to be hit with a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
Men typically, they need to grow up to be logical and strong. That's just typically the way it works. There's just logic and just enduring. Those are some key things, because endurance, you can change that into like quite a bit of things, right? But those are some key things that you need to develop before you start leaving the nest. And if you haven't done that, when you get to be 21, 22, and you start getting into like maybe some financial gains have come in, you're a little bit more steady, and you haven't learned that, and you get into a relationship, okay, and you don't have those skills, you're gonna have a bad relationship. For sure. Okay, unless you get with somebody who's like puts up with you, and that's fine too, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not knocking anybody, but typically, if you both have emotional, men typically have the emotional. It's just I
don't know. I feel like men, like they keep their emotions down and they ignore it, and they just don't acknowledge it as much, and as a result, I feel like emotions connect people together, and they're sort of like, women like an emotional, intelligent man. And if they're ignoring their emotions, it's not, it's not ideal.
I'll probably be somebody who struggles with emotions in a relationship. I would admit that. If I was a little bit more on that, like, that's probably something I missed out on, like, to prove my point, So I am a little bit, I do have relationships, but if I get into them, it takes me a while. Like, I don't just get with anybody, and like, I'm not relationship after relationship after relationship. I got to get to know somebody. Yeah. But even after I get to know somebody, I am still considered somebody. Why don't you show me enough? In my relationships, it tends to be that way, where I'm just like, it would seem that I don't care, but I do care.
You have a hard time
expressing it. Yeah. To me, I'm there for you. I'll be there, but it's like, I won't love bomb you,
Women love emotions. If you can really like start like understanding their emotions and even understanding your own emotions, they're like, that's super attractive to them.
Yeah. Would you say, okay, so let's flip it around. Do you think women need to adapt to a man as well? Maybe use, like you just said, let's just use your words a little different, right? So you said women love, emotions with a man, so men love a woman who can,
be a little bit more logical, probably.
Yeah.
You didn't want to say that.
Be a little bit more logical, not take things to heart so much.
Well, I think that's part of emotional intelligence when you when you don't let your emotions like control you or get out of hand or like for sure.
Yes, because then it's no longer I'm somebody who. That's a whole nother topic, right? So there's the adoree and then there's the adorer, right? In a relationship.
Okay.
Right? There's always, the best one is when there's an adoree and adorer and scenario, and it just depends on which one you are, There's always, like, we can't measure love, right? But, you can typically, you say weigh it out. I mean, you can't weigh or get a measuring tape and like, But what I'm getting at is the fact that, there's always somebody, and I know you've probably been in some sort of relationship where I love this person and they just don't give me back exactly what but I don't care because I love them so much, and, if I don't know, I've seen this on another podcast and I've seen if the man held that, right, and the woman just, relationships would probably stay together longer because you've got a divorce rate that's very high. Okay, and it's initiated by the female typically.
Yeah, most of the time.
So these are just facts. I'm not trying to,
well, she
point
just
the blame.
Gets tired of, I don't know, she gets tired of something. There's always something there.
That's a whole nother, avenue,
sure.
right? But that's what I mean by emotionally, we can, you didn't wash the dishes, you know what I mean? I'm out of here, It's over, crumbs on the table. What? I'm out of here. Like, I don't know, over something so small. There's people out there that are just like, I can't stand it when he, the toilet lid. I don't know. That might be for somebody. The washing of the dishes, the taking out of the trash. I don't know.
Both need to have that emotional intelligence. They both need to be able to handle like arguments peacefully and without it getting out of control.
Yeah.
And in most cases, that doesn't happen. People don't really take that time. Like, people don't learn that in school.
Right. There you go. And that's what I mean. Like, when you're younger, you should, look, I do my best to teach my kids things like this.
Yeah.
Right? I tell it starts with both of them. Maybe they're doing something wrong, right? And I come to them and I go, okay, when you have a kid and they're doing just exactly what you're doing right now, what would you tell them? And I'll tell you so that I can tell you right now what what would you tell yourself, or I'm sorry, what would you tell your kid right now, and so I think one of the situations, my daughter just got her license, right? And it's like, and it's like, it's kind of come back to me because when I was younger, I got my license, started staying out a little later and later, and my mom's like, "Where you at? Where you at?" And it's to me, I'm like, "Why are you bugging? Yeah. Why are you messing with me?" I'm like, "I'll be home, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just why are you tripping?" Well, it starts to happen to me, right, with my daughter, right?
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, man, I'm just like, it's just payback for, for what I used to do. But instead, what I had to do was do my best to, instead of how my mom was, she was like, really, where are you at? And, are you coming home? And you need to be here. And, just telling me where I needed to be and where are you? And just getting it. And never that was it. It was always, I get upset and that would be that. But with my daughter, I'm like, okay, hey, so if you had a kid, all right, you just got your license, and you've already had a fender bender already. You know, I had to go and get you in the rain because your car stalled out, you know, in that massive rainfall we had, the flooding. Okay. And then, you know, I call you and you're supposed to be home around a certain time. And I typically go to bed at 11. It's like, I can't go to bed knowing that you're out there.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that. Your daughter or your son just got their license. They're not that great at driving. And you just go to bed like it's nothing. Like, do you think you could? I couldn't sleep. Like, what if she's trying to call me? What if she's stuck somewhere like she was? What if, you know, all that's running through my head. Yeah. And that's so my goal is to relay how it felt, and so that I can get a little bit of like understanding, right? Yeah. So that's a good way of communicating, rather than don't do that because I said so.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try to do with my kids, as far as helping them grow into adults of like, hey, what would you do as a parent? What would you do as a wife? What would you do as a husband? Because what you're displaying right now is you're going to be a bad husband and you're going to be a bad wife. You know, and you're going to fight a lot in your relationships, because if you and I can't get along, like I'll tell that to my daughter, because you're a girl, I'm a guy, I think like a guy, and you definitely think like a girl. Because out of everything, her mouth at a certain age was like, I know already. Like, yes, I know already. Like, everything was just, you know, real just sharp. But that's the emotion, right? It's just like, you know, get off my back, and I'm triggering her. And but I'm trying to calm her down and like, hey, just look at it from my point of view, right? That's empathy, teaching them how to put themselves in other people's shoes. That works anywhere, right?
Yeah.
You're going to eat somewhere and somebody's making a mess. My kids are making a mess on the counter, and it's like, hey, this waiter's got to come over here and clean this mess. How would you feel? And it's like, it's always doing things like that.
Is she able to like pick that up pretty well and see your perspective?
Once we could lower the emotional, you know, because that's what we're working on. I was like, look, like that's a technique too, right? Like, did I stop you from going over there, or does it feel like I'm stopping you? Right?
Yeah.
Because if I ask her, I go, where are you coming from? From over there, my friend's house, or this or that, or my mom's, or whatever. And it's like, okay, did I stop you from going? No, but it feels like you are. Okay, it feels like it, but I'm not. All I'm saying is, if you keep getting in trouble while you're there, and if you do certain things while you're there that trigger me to say, hey, you cannot go there, is that really me saying it, or is that you sabotaging yourself?
True.
That triggers me. It's like there's an action, there's a reaction. You know, teaching them things like that. You know, consequences, right? Like,
yeah.
My goal ultimately is to be the person on their shoulder, right? The good one that says, hey, you know, you think it's a smart idea to stay out?
And does she get really emotional like at times? And
oh yeah.
And it blinds the way she sees things.
It blinds them. Yes, it does. Decision making, right? You can't. When you're it happens to me, and I tell her, I go, look, you see how I got so emotionally worked up right there? And I said this and I said that. I shouldn't have said that. Because that affected our timeline. Right? That affected our timeline. Now we got to, like, you're mad at me, I'm mad at you. Maybe, at one point I got, upset with her, and I blew my lid, and she ended up moving back with her mom for a little bit. Right? Until she started falling into this pattern of other things. And then only to know, and I told her that would one day happen. I told her future, that's probably where it's going to go, and she ended up going that way, So, but she ended up going that way. The timeline, right? We're together, and we're going in a direction, and then that me exploding shifted the timeline. And she went somewhere else, went to a darker place, a darker area, having to deal with what she needed to deal with or whatever, only to get right back to with me. Now she's doing even better. She's got her license. She's doing some things as far as like working, and she's saving up for a car. When before she was headed nowhere.
Do you believe that everything happens for a reason?
Yes. There's another good one. Yeah, I like that one.
Like, even though like it may seem like a bad thing's happening in the moment or something bad's happening, it's there for a reason. Whether it'll teach you something, or you're going to learn something from it, or maybe something else will happen because of it.
Right. So self-awareness, right? If you're somebody who's trying to be self-aware, it's like, what is this trying to teach me?
Yes.
Right? You ask yourself.
Like critical.
What is this doing to me?
Yeah.
And what's the challenge, right? What's here? What am I supposed to learn? Because ultimately we're on this planet, in my opinion, to learn.
To learn.
You know, that's the knowing, right?
What do you think we're trying to learn? Because I have a similar thought. Like we're here to basically level up and like, well, I want to hear your thoughts on that.
So first of all, we're energy, we're light beings.
Yeah.
We're in this body. This is an avatar, right? This is a VR headset, you know, that somebody is, you know, wearing, and they're seeing, you know, what I'm seeing throughout the day and so forth.
So this is just a vehicle to experience this reality.
Yeah, like it is.
Okay.
And then once we die, we pop out of it and we venture off, and then, you know, either we recycle into it or God has more, you know, things for us, or, you know, whatever it may be. But we have the ability to go to different planets.
Yeah.
We can become an alien race. We can, I don't know, we can, you know, come back and, you know.
So we're the consciousness then of that's inhabiting this
Yes.
body? Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
There's many names for it.
I would like it. I like that, because consciousness, it still has, like, you know, we are all one in a sense, but at the same time, yes, consciousness makes us who we are. And so yes, and so we would float around in this field of or this ocean, as you described at one point, you know, and
why do you think we incarnated?
Yeah. No.
Why do you think we incarnated into these bodies? And like, what is the ultimate, like, if there is an ultimate lesson or whatever?
So some would say why these particular ones. We chose this. You know, like some would say Dolores Cannon, right, is another name out there. She studies hypnosis, and she, after hypnotizing a lot of people, she started uncovering that they would speak to her in different languages while they were under. Or, you know, talk about their past lives and so forth. But eventually she got so good at it, and she got so much information from people, that they ended up telling her that, you know, a little bit more insight, that they are from like Earth is the most heaviest. Like, it's if you're gonna go somewhere, Earth's probably not the one place you want to go to. You know, this is the heaviest place to go through, the harshest, you know, place to be. And you know, at one point we needed a lot of help, and I think somebody rang a bell up there. I think God was like, you know, hey, people of Earth need us right now. They're going through a lot, and who wants to go? And a lot
about the 3 waves of volunteers.
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
Yeah.
So the waves of, well, I think we're on that last wave right now, as far as like, but a lot of people came. As far as the first wave, they came here, and they didn't realize how heavy and harsh and the emotional sad and all this stuff, you know, all the free will that we get here.
So to give it a little context, supposedly when World War II happened and nuclear bombs went off, Earth, like according to Dolores Cannon, Earth is aware and conscious and alive, and sends out a signal to the universe and said, I need help, basically. And that sent a signal to, I guess, all the other consciousness or awareness or souls or aliens, whatever you want to say is out there, and they volunteered. Like, supposedly there's volunteers that incarnated to Earth right now in order to help like elevate the consciousness of the planet.
Right.
Because I guess Earth was going down a dark path.
Correct.
And
yeah,
there's a lot of
yeah, and the first wave, right? They didn't know what they were getting into, from what I understand. That's the way she describes
they're
it.
like from the 70s or something like that. That's the first wave, and like the 80s, I think.
So
was the second, and then I think the 2000s was the third wave. Like if you were born in that period of time,
right? And from what she said, that a lot of them, it was so harsh that a lot of them actually killed themselves. Like there was a lot of suicides. You know, that's why their suicide rates were so high around a certain particular time. So she said that, and you know, this last wave, from what I understand, there's going to be a lot of almost like we're bringing in the X-Men, right? We're bringing in Marvel. We're bringing in people that have telepathy. People that can move things, you know, with their mind, you know, or consciousness, you know, they can move things.
So they're more like these people are generally more sensitive to the energy around them. Whether maybe they call themselves empaths or something like that, where they can just feel the emotions of other people, or they can feel the energy of like the sun or solar flares. they feel a deep connection to just everything around them.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah. And so with that being said, I mean, they're here and you're here to help learn, be a good person. Because so I don't know if you've ever been in an area where just people are just joyful. When you're in an area, it's very contagious, right? And so imagine if the world, the planet was just, much more light instead of darkness. It lifts it, all that energy that we, so that's a whole other story too. Some would say that, that's harvesting energy from us. The conscious mind, if we can make our lights within, as far as the feeling of goodness, right? And then you light your light. It's like candle, lights in a concert. Like we just all are lit up.
And people feel that energy.
Yeah. If you do it across the world, that's a massive amount of energy. That's something I don't know where that goes. But there are talks of like, harvesting, energy like that. Extraterrestrial, stuff like that.
I feel like these volunteers that came here. Like I feel like I'm one of these volunteers. Helps guide and teach others to increase their awareness.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people they're so entrenched in this game, this earth game, that they forget themselves. They forget who they are. They're so disconnected. And these volunteers are not as disconnected. They're more connected to like the universe and God or source or whatever you call it. So we're trying to bring in we're trying to increase the awareness, because the higher your awareness, the less you're going to start fighting people.
Right.
The less you're going to have war and chaos basically.
Yes.
So we're trying to
Awakening, right? We could use that word.
awakening.
Right. But it's so weird how, whenever I hear people talk about, whenever I listen to podcasts and they use the term awakening, and so forth, it's like it's like a movie, right? Like sometimes you picture it like that. Everything's like a movie these days, where it's just all of a sudden you wake up and you're just like a whole new person, and just it doesn't work that way. Like you slowly start to open your eyelids, right? And everything starts to slowly come into focus, and it eventually starts to just get better and better and better as far as what you feel, see, and so forth. It's a process, that awakening. I feel like it's
For me, it was like a dark moment. I had a really dark, like they call it the dark night of the soul or something like that, where just I think I had COVID or something like that. I think that was one of the times, but I felt like I was going to die because I was so sick with COVID. And I had a surrender moment. Like, okay, I'm going to die. Whatever.
Yeah.
Because before then I was trying to hold on and just really push through it. And that was making it worse.
Right.
But the moment I let go, I felt like a rush of energy just go through me. And I felt very light after that. And that was kind of the thing. That was like one step out of many that slowly, I guess, transitioned me into a more awakened state.
Awakened, ascended, like a feeling of just letting go of this
everything.
thing. Yeah.
Because I was so attached to not only the stuff I have around me, materialistic, but my body.
Yeah.
And I had to let everything go. And then I realized, okay, I'm much more than the body.
Right.
I'm a conscious being. I'm conscious.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what I am. And I had to have that, I guess, aha moment.
Yeah.
To right.
So let's just say that, right? So letting go, right? So there's, you're holding on to something. What can help you let go, right? You were going through something that was you're on death's bed, right?
Yeah.
It was knocking, and you just said, I'm tired of feeling this. I'm okay if I go.
Yeah.
And that's the letting go. I'm okay, right?
Yeah.
For other people, it can be other things, as far as letting go of the ego, or, letting go, which you can still say, that's an awakening of some sort. But, I lost a train of thought there. But letting go, it can come from so many different ways. And all it takes is once you're able to let go, there's so much more you can bring in, right? You become open, you know. You're so closed, and it's
that makes a big,
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And those are some of the things that, so I guess we were just talking about us, right? Like you felt like you feel like you're one of the chosen ones, and you're here to help.
I don't want to say chosen one.
No, you're here to help.
I feel like
you're
I
here to
started this
help.
whole podcast just because I wanted to help elevate the mindsets. Like I wanted to like help people drop their limited mindsets and take on more empowered mindsets, like more empowered beliefs, and improve and increase their awareness. I want them to expand and see more of reality, more of what's actually here.
Yeah.
I think the planet needs that.
Yeah. You've unlocked something in your DNA that's allowing you to do that and feel like this is where you're compelled to it, you know?
Yes.
Right? Like there's something there that's just drawing you, and you just feel,
to do it.
Yeah, I need to do it. And that's where I'm at right now. Like when I cut people's hair and they come and sit in my chair, I'm like, I get such a high from like trying to, people tell me some parts of their life, and I've been through so many different things, so I help them see a different aspect of it, Yeah. And just started kind of like with that, and it's like, and then people started coming back just to be like, so hey, and they want to.
It's like therapy.
Where we left off.
It's a lot like therapy because you're like the observer, objective observer of somebody's whatever they're going through, and so you can see a larger aspect of it where they can't see it.
Yes, I love that you brought that up, because you, like myself, it's hard for me to see myself. Anybody, that's why it's best you go somebody that's going to help you and be honest with you, of course, and not trying to put you down or anything like that, but just to be the eyes and ears of something that you're saying and relaying and putting out into that I'm able to catch it and say like, hey, did you see what you just let off? Like, here, check this out. Like, and for me, when I try to do it to myself,
it's hard.
It's hard. To be like, maybe it is me. Did I?
I mean, I think that's the whole purpose of relationships. Is like we're reflecting each other. We can see each other. We can't see ourselves. Where it's hard. We can, but it's really difficult.
Right. So I said I can't. Right. So I can. It takes a lot of effort and time to like pause. Like I literally have to like let time stand still for a minute. Where did this begin? What's the root of it? Like I have to develop a formula to start. Versus some people, talking to somebody can help them.
Oh yeah.
Say, you're saying certain things and you're like, huh, and then that resonates with you. It rings a bell and you're just kind of like, oh, I didn't see that one. And then
it's a special skill.
Yeah, it is.
That by itself, you're helping give awareness to people or show them something that they weren't aware of before. So that by itself is elevating a person's awareness and consciousness.
Right. Yeah.
Which is vital.
It is, and I think both get a high out of it. I think it's very, to see when you uncover something. It's like when it's very,
it's rewarding.
It's rewarding. It's fulfilling. Like, man, we beat a level. You know what I mean? Like,
And it's like with the level, it's like I liken it to like a person's repeating patterns over and over again because they haven't learned that lesson from that whatever it is.
Yes.
That challenge. And they won't go on to bigger and better things until they learn that lesson, because they'll just repeat it over and over again. So they got to learn that lesson, and then they move on to the next thing.
Right. So if you come into this life and you're raised to like, hey, start recognizing your patterns by your parents, right? Let's talk patterns, right? Like, so you sit them down. You're like, hey, look, we all end up having patterns. Think about it. Like, we are creatures of habit. Those are patterns, is my idea of it, right? So people make a lot of money off algorithms, right? Those are patterns, right? I mean, we do it. So they know this. Like, okay, why can't we teach our kids, hey, you have an algorithm right now, and you need to learn it and figure out what you like to look at and scroll through and be somewhere. Maybe you're playing around too much in the hallways and you're not focusing on work, and you're doing why you need to learn your patterns, because those patterns can either do good for you or they can actually do bad for you, right? And so you can say, okay, these patterns good, these patterns need to go, right? These patterns good, these patterns no. But patterns ultimately affect your timeline. And ultimately, you want to gain the best amount of good patterns that put you on a good trajectory.
You mentioned timeline a couple times. What do you mean by that?
So at any given, like I feel like we're running multiple scenarios at every we're running multiple scenarios in our lives.
Okay,
it's like that's almost like like somebody from the future coming back over here and making sure that this podcast never takes place, right? Yeah. They hold me up at gunpoint somewhere, I don't know, and this never happens, and then this podcast never occurs. That's an alteration of a timeline, and then how did it happen? Well, somebody held me up. Okay, so you need to learn some of the things that potentially can happen.
That's a key word, the potential.
Right.
I feel like, but how do you create those potentials? I feel as if thoughts create reality, or like beliefs and thoughts create reality. So if you hold a thought long enough, it increases the potential of that happening.
Right. Consciousness is thought. It's consciousness that stimulates and makes things it creates existence.
Yes.
Like we think about building a house, or we'll think about doing a podcast, right?
It all starts with a thought.
It all starts with a thought, right? Consciousness and being aware and bring it in. And the Lion's Gate, by the way, is the best time to create and do things, because all that energy, you have a bigger and there's more power behind the thought.
Behind your thought.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Makes it happen faster.
Makes it happen faster. Yes, it stimulates you enough to where you're like, I'm charged. I'm in. Let's go. I ain't failing, and I'm gonna do this podcast, and we're gonna set a date. Hey, are you gonna make it? Are you gonna come? Like you're just constantly trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
Versus like, I'm gonna do a podcast eventually, and it's gonna happen. Yeah. Well, let's make a date.
True.
Let's just make a date. No, we're making this shit happen. Why? Why all of a sudden you're just so ramped up about it? Because there's something in the the air and the atmosphere that we were just talking about earlier.
The energy is right.
Yeah, the energy is right for it, and so you might as well ride that wave. Life is like that. And money comes in waves. Luck comes in waves.
So the timelines. So
yeah, timelines. Sorry, I went off there.
That's good.
But yeah, timelines. I'm always aware of like I was telling you, but when I said that thing to my daughter, like I shouldn't have said it, because it's going to alter my timeline. Like if you're constantly doing what you're needing to be doing and not hopping around and being like chasing your tail, erratic behavior. You're doing what you need to do to be successful. You got a trajectory, right? You're aiming for it, and you may, venture off just a tad, but you're always heading in that direction. But if you do something that changes your timeline, well, you're in jail, or you die, or you're an alcoholic for the longest periods of time till you come out of darkness. Like then your timeline corrects eventually, if you're lucky, if it corrects, but you're taking that the long way somewhere.
And it seems like when you have conversations with people, when you're cutting their hair, you're kind of reading. It sounds like you're kind of reading their potential future, their potential timelines based on what they're saying. Yeah.
And I've done that for some of my clients. I go, you do option A, option B, and then I'll tell them what happens, how it unfolds. And I'll tell them, that are you ready for the journey too? Because I can see it. Like, like for instance, I had somebody that was mad at their partner, and wanted to break up and so forth. I go, well, are you sure? Like, it takes a lot of guts to end something. Like, are you prepared? Yeah, I can be alone. And it's like, okay, well, I don't know if you know what being, like, I can handle being alone. I love being alone. Mm-hmm. And somebody mentioned the word, oh yeah, it's kind of lonely. I'm like, no, it's not lonely. It's peaceful. Yeah. To me, it's peaceful, peace and quiet, and like, but it's all about how you frame it. But anyways, are you going to be ready for that? And then, they said, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, this is what's going to happen. You're going to be home. You're going to be antsy. It's too quiet for you. And you're going to feel like you want to get out and do something. And eventually you start getting out, and you're going out more, and you're drinking more, and you're doing all these things because you just feel like you're alone and something's, they're like, oh, I know it, And then I said, or, you can learn to be happy at home, learn yourself with this break that you're having, become an even better person. So by the time you meet somebody new, you sync up with them, right? Because they may be there learning some things on their own, and you're learning things, and you got two people that have been learning something and of goodness and trying to do the right thing, getting rid of their egos. And when they meet, you recognize, wow, this person has grown quite a bit. I enjoy being around this person. And then vice versa for them. You have that potential, right? But what ended up happening, they couldn't handle it on their own. They ended up drinking and just over drinking, and they end up going back to that person. That's how it happens. They end up going back.
Did you tell them that would happen?
Yeah.
What if what you said stuck in his mind, and you kind of created that for him?
True. Like I manifested it for him.
Sort of like because he just kept thinking that.
Yeah, you're right. That could be part of it. I mean,
Part of it.
It could be part of it. To me, it's more of a heed warning. It's more like if you're gonna do this, this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And don't do it for these reasons. You got to do it for yourself, right? And while you're doing it for yourself, you need to help yourself while you're by yourself. Like I really promoted the fact that making sure that they're using this time to better themselves. Okay. But to what you're saying is like maybe no. But maybe it had to do with me. But the goal was ultimately to get them to go through it and have an understanding of it. Because either way scenario, remember we just talked about things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? So, but the thing is, I probably might have inspired him.
Maybe.
Because I tell you what, I am that type of person. I get very excited. Like you can hear me on this podcast. Like I'm like, I inspire somebody to I have a lot of passion in, making changes in your life. You can see that I've stopped drinking, I've stopped smoking, I've tried to check, and I'm constantly trying, but not very many people can do what I've been doing. So I try to do that with him, but the thing is, he went through what he had to go through on his own way or terms. Yeah. But he did see what he actually goes, you were right, I did fail, and I did go back, and I started drinking, and I started doing this, and he even wept with me. Like it was a really? Very dramatic moment. It was just like, I don't know what to do now at this point.
Every time I see you, I feel like when I come out of like the haircut, I feel like you say something that changes in a good way how I see things just a little bit, or like I come away with something sort of like something I needed to hear.
Right.
I always feel like, I'm just imagining you're listening to people, and maybe you're getting like intuitive thoughts or like you're visualizing things in your mind, and you're just speaking what you see.
I definitely see everything in my head. Like I see, like when I told him to stop drinking, I already saw him being upset and them fighting. Yeah. And this, it's like the Flash. You ever seen the Flash or Superman when he zips here, he zips there, and he zips, and you just see this line of streaks behind him, and he gets to that, and then everything slows down when he's right next to it. I can see everything and feel everything at that point, right? And then the emotion that his partner would give, right, or the emotion that maybe their kid would give to him or to them or whoever the person is, I can see that, right? And then I can relay it to them, and so then they can see it. So then when it's happening to them, they can reflect on it and be like, this is what he was talking about. Yeah. But I planted the seed at least to let them know. And guess what? He stopped drinking because he found out that was one of the root causes of, like there was more to it. Like I gave you the short version of it. Well, we talk about a lot. So
no, that's good. I feel like, you're like a messenger of the universe, basically. You're telling people what they need to hear when they need to hear it.
Right.
And you can see things that maybe they can't see themselves, but it's like downloaded into you. It's just very intuitive, and just you get these visualizations, and it feels right to you, so you share it.
Right.
It's amazing.
What's weird is it's like, because I mean literally when I'm cutting there, I'm like it's melon to melon, right? I'm like here, and it's like getting things out of them. It just kind of their thoughts actually. If you there's studies that thoughts.
There's an aura.
There's an aura. There's a field
of thoughts, basically, around of a person.
And so when I'm there, I
think it's called the morphogenetic field. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Just a field of thoughts.
Field of thoughts, yeah.
I was thinking about that earlier today. It's like you're on a person, basically. You're touching them. You're probably feeling their thoughts and their energy.
I can.
I bet, do you sense that maybe, I bet you sense not so good people, too, at the same time.
I can. You feel with them though, it's not like danger, right? It's very closed. It's quiet. It's very, they're letting nothing out, and
maybe they were hurt or something, so they're like have a shield, like something to protect themselves.
Yeah. Their lives, they've been through some things, and but I can also pick up. That's one, right? And then there's the ego I pick up on. Those are some guys that come in and they're just ultimately tough guys, and just they have this attitude of I know everything, and I don't need your your opinion on things. And so I shift up. I'm aware of that. Like, I'm so good at actually, like, talking about things and getting people to open up. And so I'll even bring some of my experiences that allows them to be like, okay, he's sharing and I'll share.
That's true.
And that's ultimately what it is. Like, what am I going to, sometimes they just, it just takes the right. And that's another thing too. Maybe I pick up on something and I say something about myself, that unlocks the door.
Well, they trust you.
They trust me, right? So it's
It takes
an
a
art.
little bit of time because, like, when I first met you, I think we talked about aliens or something like that, and you're telling me about
You're a good example of it. You were very quiet when I first met you.
yeah. I didn't know who you were. I'm like, I didn't know how much I could say about things because most people, when they hear stuff like this, they're so surface level or superficial that they haven't really dived into just anything like this. Right. Awareness, emotions, anything like this.
Yeah.
And so
that proves our point earlier, right? Like, this world needs people like you and I to help them see it, and not to get overworked by it, or take offense to it, or you're telling me what I don't know myself, like because there's the ego again that's telling people, I know how to live, I know how to make a living, can't you see I make money and I know what I'm doing. And it's like there's more to it than that,
and they don't realize it until much later in life, most likely, or if they ever do.
If they ever do. And that's funny. So we can lead into something like this. Like, I feel like things are shifting right now, with the magnetic pole shifting, and this world is moving into a higher frequency.
Yeah.
We all know, I mean, in this realm that we are in, as far as like feelings and, energy and so forth, people that dabble in it, they know that there's a shift occurring. You can feel it. And
who's they?
So, like,
regular people?
Like you and I.
Okay, yeah,
like you and I that dabble into this field of
I feel like definitely there's something changing, something going on. I can feel it. I don't know exactly what it is,
right?
But I feel there's definitely.
Do you have a hypothesis on what you might think it is?
I feel like.
What's your hypothesis on it?
So my understanding is that I feel like the solar system is moving into a different part of the galaxy that gets more, let's say, radiation or more like energy from like the center of our galaxy. Mm-hmm. And so as that's increasing, it's changing, I guess, the energy of the planet. And so we're shifting from one state to another state. And in between these two states, there's a period of like destruction or something like that, or like things are going to fall apart and we're going to like have a new way of doing things, like a better way.
Right.
But for that to happen, the old has to go. And
the old
I feel
has
like
to go.
We're in that transitional period right now where the old systems are collapsing because they're no longer being supported by the energy that's hitting the planet.
Right.
And we're transitioning to these new systems that will be sustained by this new energy, which is more about like connection and like higher awareness and like living together and just like a better, like it's less ego focused, I think.
Right. And that's us, right? Out here tapping into that frequency change, answering the calling of speaking to people and conveying the importance of self-awareness and really feeling what's going on in the world and developing themselves. So we're a part of that, right?
Yeah.
But, what if I, here's another one, like, well, what if, I understand systems and things that of, physical things, right? Okay. Like that, I agree with that. But I do agree. I would say it's not a disagree, but you didn't mention it, so it's not really a disagree or agree kind of thing. It's adding to it, right? So what if we said that low frequency, right? Because I believe there's still going to be that low frequency.
Okay.
It's the two. It's just that the low frequency is still going to be there. That people are still. It's hard to describe. Maybe picking up on it or still in it, But it's like a frequency that's there. We can choose to listen to it, or you can choose to not. right? And stay on the low frequency.
I see.
And so biblically, if we were to go and compare it to like the Bible or something like that, you would somewhat even compare it to like the rapture.
Okay.
You ever had a Jehovah Witness bring you a pamphlet? And these pamphlets is so old school, like it just I remember they used to be that way too, where just on the floor would be clothes, right? It would show a mom, dad attire and the kids' attire on they would just be on the floor, just clothes, and that's it.
Okay. Oh, like they were like raptured.
They were taken, right?
Okay.
They were taken to heaven, right?
Yeah.
What if we were to just say that they're still here, they just got taken to a higher frequency?
Can I tell you what I understand from that? I believe that's happening now.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah, I believe that's happening now. We're shifting into a higher frequency, and we're experiencing a different version of the people that are around us. Like for me, my family, my brother, my mom, just everyone around me has changed. I feel like because I change. As I change, they're changing, and they're like being a better version of themselves. Their old version is gone. And same with me. I feel like my old version is gone, and I've kind of shifted. But it's so subtle that it's hard to notice.
Right.
And so I feel like you're talking about like a shift. People are going either one way or the other, and they can dive deep into either way.
Right. I that's exactly the way I look at it. They can continue on their old ways, right? Or they can see, because look, we don't know what else this frequency shift is going to bring, right? Maybe we'll be able to communicate, non-verbally, telepathy, right? I mean, more of us, right? I mean, maybe we will be able to start seeing this other realm, you know what I mean? Of plasmoids, right? Of plasma, of things just moving around amongst us that we weren't able to see before. Something gets activated as we get higher and higher to this frequency.
I think all of that's like here and now if we tune into it.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're doing.
Right. And that's what I'm working on right now. I'm going through that right now. And it's a weird process because we talked about it too. It's almost like a crazy face. I mean, people, you talk to them about this, they can be like, giggle at you a little bit, give you a smirk and be like, yeah, in their head, yeah, you're crazy.
People see what they want to see. I like this quote. It's like when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So it starts with you.
Yeah.
And you have to see what you want to see. You have to see a beautiful world or a beautiful whatever it is you're wanting to see, and you'll start to see that more apparent than anything else.
Right.
But it starts with you. Like when you shift your perspective, the world is like you'll start to see what's already there. It's there. Like I feel like you can see both sides, the light and the dark, but it's like with you, like it starts with you. What do you want to focus on? If you want to focus on the dark, you'll see the worst parts of the world. It's all here.
Yeah.
If you want to see the good, you can see that. You'll start seeing more and more of that. It's all in what you focus on.
Yeah, yeah. And, for you and I, it's easy, but for others, it's how do we get them to buy into it, right? That's always the thing to where it's like, and how do we make it stick is the way I look at it whenever I'm talking to somebody, because I know, man, we love to chase our tails. We love to go in circles. We love to have these patterns like it's just
addicting.
It's an addiction. It is an addiction. And
they get tired of it. Maybe they get tired of it or something.
No, they love chasing their dude. So I have a dog too, right? His name is James, and I always mention that. And he used to be at my shop at the barber shop, and I used to love using him as an analogy, right? I go, you see how he's just doing that? He's just chasing his tail, and he would just go around just chasing his tail. I go, that's you right there. And then they laugh at it, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh shit, you're kind of right. I'm just what do you do when somebody just chases their tail? He's chasing his tail again.
Yeah, just watch.
Right? He's just watch. He's gonna do it again. Watch. Just watch. Right? So God gives you like, hey, here's some alcohol around here. Watch. He's gonna fuck it up. Watch. He's gonna drink that bottle. Look, and he's gonna call her up and say what a bitch he is, or call her, and say some weird things, and they're just gonna get him into his trouble again. Right? And so here's because we know he does that. That's his trick. He likes to chase his tail. And so when you say that to somebody, there's the click, right?
Yeah.
And there's your opportunity where the loophole got it broken, right? It's broken. Now it's open. And now it allows things to be received. And now you can talk to them, and now they can walk away and leave my shop or whatever being like, And then they're going, and then they see the drink. They're, that son of a bitch, he said the drink. And they put the drink down, because I'm not going to let that, I'm not going to do the chasing.
They wake up a little bit.
They do. They do. Now, it's just these little seeds, right? I don't expect everybody to be that, but that's the way it works for me, and that's the way, I try, and I don't expect to, like with my kids, it's a process, man. It's a process. And not everybody deserves my because it takes a lot of energy from me.
Yeah.
It does, right?
Because you got to really like hone in on that person, and maybe you become too like emotionally empathetic or something. Yeah. And it kind of drains you potentially.
Yeah. And that's what they call like somebody who's toxic for you. And so I had a relationship like that where they continued to drink and I didn't, right? And so I looked at it like, I had to tell myself, like, because I didn't want to leave, right? I didn't want to break up. I didn't want to, like, move on or anything like that. I mean, I was genuinely in love, and so it was hard. But you have to come up with an idea of why you're doing it. And the idea to me was, the reasoning was, I'm actually outgrowing this person.
Yeah, I was going to say that, yeah.
I'm actually outgrown. But most people wouldn't, like, I don't know, you're getting ready to say that, but I mean, most people don't understand that concept of what outgrowing somebody means, Like, I learned some things from this person. Don't get me wrong. Like, it was a nice little ride. The whole season for a reason. I believe in that too. You're put in people's past, like you and I are, for a reason. Mm-hmm. And how are we going to max that out, or how are we going to learn from that? Like, I always look at things like that, and I think it was time to move on at that particular.
She didn't want to like follow you with your growth, and
no,
or she couldn't probably.
No, I think when you witness somebody else growing and you're staying where you're at, what tends to happen is you think you're better than me, starts to happen, right? A little bit of that kicks in, and so therefore it gives them a reason to stay where they're at, because they're scared of leaving. That's their reasoning. My reasoning is outgrowing, and theirs is like, you think you're better, so that they can stay there. I'm trying to figure out a way to go and move on, because I still got more things to unlock and level up, and I'm on that path versus somebody's like, I don't know why I keep doing this, and I don't know why I keep doing that, and you know what happened to me again? It's like, I already know what happened to you. You told me that 2-3 times ago, and I was like, yes, I saw you chasing your tail. Yeah, like if you want to stay doing that, why are that's the energy I'm talking about. I'm drained every day from talking about that over and over, that cycle.
It's so draining. Like you're trying to, you're talking to a person, and you're giving them really good advice, at least from your perspective, and nothing is changing.
Nothing's changing. Nothing's changed. It's very dissatisfying.
Yeah.
And then it makes me feel like what? I mean, what is insanity, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's doing something
thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yeah, and it's like, but it makes perfect sense when you say it out loud. But but yeah, that was that journey right there.
So there's a shift happening. So
let's get back to that. Yeah. So there's a shift happening, and it's funny you said that. There's a shift happening, and there's so much, there's so much information that can come with that shift change. Here's one out of the blue that just hit me. I was on YouTube, and I saw one with P. Diddy. All right. He was doing an interview with Charlemagne the God. Right. And they have him in there, and he's like, I'm just trying to better my, career and go into these next levels. And I'm thinking about taking over Disney. I think that would be a good business adventure, and taking over Disney, Walt Disney, and because a shift is coming. Aliens are coming. And what was last will be first, and what is first will be last.
Oh my!
And then he just went off.
Yeah.
And some people would be like, okay, so what? I showed him the video. I'm like, check this out. What is that? Does that resonate with you at all? And they're just like, oh no. I mean, like, what are you trying to say? I was like, he said aliens are coming. They're like, so what? Like, okay, like what? Okay, but that's okay. And this is how maybe we can spit off into something else. I analyze the internet. That's how I see where we're at. Like, I can feel where this world is at I was getting ready to tell you, it's just like watching TVs of the world, right? Yeah. You can see where we're headed. If you analyze it enough, you can see, right? Yeah. So with him, I can analyze him and just be like, did we know that he was having Diddy parties before? And then you start seeing all the old videos of him, right? Talking about taking 50 Cent shopping. You know, hey, man, I'm going to take, 50 Cent was talking about P. Diddy asking him to go shopping. He's like, man, why I want to go shopping with you? Why is he asking me to go shopping? And then he's like, you ain't been to a Diddy party. Like, the way he would talk would be very, like, like obvious that he was, sleeping with the rappers and trying to sleep with other people.
Seems, yeah, definitely odd. Like, he did the same thing with Justin Bieber.
Yeah, it was right there in our faces is my point. Okay. So again, when he goes back and he says, aliens are coming and what was first will be last and what was last will be first, there's a shift going on right now.
When did he say this?
He said this, I have to look up the video.
A week ago or something?
Nah, this was a playback. This was somebody, catching it. Yeah.
Okay.
So this was before his court cases and stuff like that. And if you think about it, we're seeing in plain view the shift, right? He was busted, right?
Yeah.
There's a shift right there. That wasn't good. That was evil to me, right? Yeah. I mean, so that got brought to light. And there's so many other things that have been brought to light as far as like uncoverings of bad deeds. And
I feel like that's happening more and more. Like stuff that was hidden is now being brought to light.
It's being brought to light.
Like everything. Like because we're in a information age. Like just things can't be hidden as easily.
Right. And think about it. The internet to me is like, let's study the internet for a minute, right? So the internet to me is us, right? We're the people. Like now we're entangled almost. We're not there yet, but we're at, like a cell phone, right? I mean, when we didn't have them, when we didn't have them, we just used our brains, right? There's a low processing speed of doing things, right? And then eventually we got cell phones. We're like walking cyborgs now. I mean, it's just that now we get our information, ChatGPT. Now we just went up now in our processing speed. Eventually to shorten it, right? We're going to put the chip in our head and we're going to be able to like process things.
I feel like that's a dark timeline.
Yeah.
I feel like the good timeline is more like we understand our connection to everything and we learn telepathy.
Yeah. No, you're right. I got another rabbit hole on that one, but but that right there is some of the things that we're seeing. We're learning. So the internet, right?
Okay.
We're learning everything through each other now. That's telepathy, entanglement almost, but it's at a computer, right? Like you just said, but you just said it right there again too. Like hopefully we don't need to put a chip in our head. We can use this, right?
Yeah.
But we're still stuck to this primitive thing right now. Is what my point is. So the internet is a primitive way of us communicating on a mass level.
Yeah.
Right. And so when we see, I hate to do it, but when we see politics, right? You've got the mainstream media that's been manipulating us for the longest time.
Hell yeah.
Okay? And so they do it in their way of they only show you half the truth, right? A few clips of a word and whatever, and then now you have podcasts where you're like, this person actually said this, and this, and this. They didn't say this, and this, right? So it's an awakening in that sense too. So we're starting to do that on a scale of where we're able to talk to each other in the masses, and eventually, hopefully, we do get to that point to where we can just feel and we all know, in a sense,
I feel like it's there already for some people who are really connected to that. I feel like we're an ocean of energy, and we can connect to the energy. And we can like discern things.
I feel
like that's kind of what you do already with just people.
Right, people.
You read into the energy that's there and you discern what it's saying.
Right.
And you visually see it.
Right. And I feel now that I have access to, it's still funny, to the internet more so, and I can look around the world and see what, I have to look around, physically, but I type things in to see what's going on in other countries and stuff like that. But the main ones that we're at war with and so forth, you just feel all these power plays going down and these it's like the Game of Thrones that's happening right in front of our eyes. They're all trying to get the power, get the throne, call the shots, and conform the world to this new whatever it is. It's a potential timeline that could happen with us as our humanity goes. Right, we're watching it right now go in real time happen.
Are you talking about like individual countries? Like
okay, because it's countries, and then the countries that there's no place on the map for them. Like they're not considered a country. They're everywhere and anywhere, and those people have a say so too, right? You can call them an oligarchy. You can call them the money, right? or a secret society, right?
Okay.
Or to the point to where they have access to alien technology. Okay, they got the means and the funds to do it. I mean, all those drones that we saw, during that period, which we're still seeing over that period of the elections and June, July. Was it July?
New Jersey drones.
Yeah, the New Jersey drones, and they were happening all over the country and all over the world, actually. Yeah. There's something right there. So there's another one, right? The shift that's happening, right? It just so happens to be coming along right around this time where the P. Diddy, what was in the darkness come to light. Like they're picking up on it too. I would say even that there's hundreds of races out there is my point of aliens.
Okay.
And humans mixed in, and there's kind of like a galactic type of reshaping, of whose, treaties. There's word out. The word on the street is when it comes to,
what are you hearing? Tell me.
So back when Eisenhower was president, rumor was that he went out there and had a deal made with the aliens at one point.
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay. Now there's whistleblowers that were a part of that Area 51 that would cooperate. I don't want to say confirm it, but they were there and they say that did take place. Mm-hmm. But what they did was not only did they sign a treaty that we would work together, but that these people were actually us in the future.
Yes.
Time travelers.
Yeah.
And that they're here because they need help because we're dying in the future because of a certain protein that's degrading our living.
Yeah, they're not able to reproduce.
Reproduce. Exactly.
And so they've gone back to the past or where we are here, and they're extracting our DNA. They're trying to do something with our DNA.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. We're actually helping them. Okay. So apparently, the Roswell crash, the aliens that were, they crashed, and one died upon impact. The other one survived, and they took him, and they were holding him, and they were actually doing experiments on him. Okay. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I was just, okay, they captured aliens that fell out of the sky. But the thing is, what they say now, well, not now, but these whistleblowers coming out, and they added to the story. They said, no, we were expecting them to come because that was part of the treaty, part of the plan. They would exchange some of their race to us, and we would do experiments on them, doing bio skin grafts on them, so that we could figure out why that protein or whatever it is it's making them die off or not be able to reproduce. I'm sorry. So we're doing tests on that particular alien, and something happened along the way. Right, and there was something gravitic that happened, a surge of energy knocked their ship into a spiral, and they came down, they hit. But what's funny is it makes kind of sense because they can't survive in our atmosphere. They have to survive by smaller amounts of oxygen and certain amount of hydrogen. It's a concoction that has to be made, and they have to be sealed off and so forth. Right. So the longer they're in our atmosphere, the chance of them dying. So they had to transport them from that crash, right, to the base. Mm-hmm. But it seemed like they were there in a matter of they already knew, which is my point, that they knew they're just, oh crap, this is where they're at. We thought they were supposed to meet us here, and so that's part of the exchange is them allowing us to do experiments on them to help them with their problem.
Did you hear about this? Supposedly, there's a dog whistle where they can just set a signal or something like that, which would attract these UFO craft. Have you heard of that?
Yeah. So when they attract them, we're actually, from what I hear, they're setting them up because they want them to come so that we can shoot them down.
Yeah, and psychically, supposedly there's psychic assets or
that bring them in and do that as well.
Yeah.
But that's why I find it so we could say that's just the Greys. We can say it's the Nordics. We can say it's the reptilians. We can say, it just, don't you think that they get pissed off by now? Don't you I just feel like there's more than one, the 4 races, 5 races. There's so many of them.
Yeah,
is my point, and the ones that we have deals with. The other ones are just here and they're like free game. Like, you know what I'm saying?
What would they get mad if we keep shooting them down? I would think so.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, we know how to, like, it's different now, like, in a sense. But that's what I mean too. Like, there's agreements that have been made.
Yeah. Supposedly. Yeah.
Supposedly. Yeah. So what, we don't know the details of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know the details. I mean, they've taught us part of the deal was to give us their technology.
Yeah.
And you can see clearly that around that time, although we have gone through some. So Stephen Greer's talked about the lost century, right?
Yeah, supposedly we have like the means to make unlimited energy,
right?
And that's been hidden away,
right?
Because I don't know.
So we're in a stall in a sense.
I feel like I was thinking about that the other day. If the human race were to awaken, that would be the catalyst to make it happen. Because imagine if we had unlimited energy and we didn't have to worry about money or food or different things like that anymore, because it wouldn't be limited by energy.
Right.
Then people would, in a sense, awaken, because imagine if we had that unlimited energy right now and yet people were unhappy still.
Yeah.
That would force them to be like, why am I unhappy? Like, who am I? What's the whole purpose of this? It would force them to go inside and look within and awaken to who they really are.
Right.
But we don't have that now.
We don't.
It's hidden away.
We don't. I don't, I don't know what that looks like and what, that's a good one. Because I thought the same thing. If only we had access to that, things would change.
Supposedly we have that from...
I mean, of course they would change, but for the better or for the good. I could even be a devil's advocate of that too, where it's like, we still have jealousy, Yeah. Maybe we have enough unlimited resources that they can change our appearance, to give us, hair where we want it, change our features. We already have that. Don't get me wrong, but that's to prove my point. We're, as a species, we have these things that still attach us to the ego.
I feel like that's purposeful. It's like Earth is we're masters of limitations. We put all these limitations on ourselves, and that empowers the ego.
Right.
The identity or whatever, just for survival, because we have to survive if there's limited resources.
Yeah.
And if we didn't have that, there would be no need for the ego and all that.
One of the guys, the Whistleblowers, was talking about a remote viewer, and he was able to the alien. Well, I'll take that back. He was a whistleblower. Said that the alien showed him his home. And his home was very, like, you see how you have all these accessories on the table and stuff like that? And he's like, no, this dude lived underground, and there was a couple of tubes here and there, shafts or whatever, and just, there was like there was just a rock in a sleeping bed there was another rock.
Okay.
And it was just like a cave of just like, very primitive, like a caveman would be,
Okay.
But yet these very these advanced beings living in a very primitive... Right, to go as far as like the ego, and so forth. Yeah. Like, it almost gave you the impression of like, no one can, like, they were so, you have to live this way and that's that. Like, I don't know. That could be that, or maybe they just felt like,
I feel like these aliens are extraterrestrials. They're extremely spiritual and connected to like the universe or source or God. They're aware. They know.
Yeah.
Themselves and their place, I guess, in the universe, whereas we don't.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of what gives them an edge over us, because they can see things that we can't necessarily see.
Yeah.
Which is really fascinating.
It is. Anybody wants to look up some rabbit holes or go through these whistleblowers? They're on the podcast called The Night Shift, and this guy he plays a lot of these things. And the names are Dan Burrish and Matthew Brown. Those are the two whistleblowers. And I found it very, it just got me where he's like, where I just left the podcast. This was the ending to it. He was just like, these aliens, I've seen some crazy things and some very, just stuff that's blown my mind. And
like what? What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. He just left it vague like that. He's still bound to the contract. Like, there's certain things he can't say. And that's why you see with all these whistleblowers, they can talk about things, but they can't reveal information that would, I guess, conflict with military information, top secret stuff. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can just give like the basics of it, right? That he spoke to an alien, or that he saw what they look like, and and things like that. But he goes, but there'd be some stuff you wouldn't believe. And he goes, and by the way, God does exist. And boom, and it just ended. And I was like, oh my God. I was like,
I
wow.
remember, I think I know which guy you're talking about. He's been interviewed by two other people.
George Knapp.
Okay. Yeah.
And I forgot the other guy's name.
Dude, that's 100% true. Like everything he said, especially the ending parts.
Yeah.
Were like, I think he said we were being controlled or something like that.
Yes, this is all. There goes to the whole matrix. We're in a simulation.
Yeah.
But it's just like when you talk to people like that, that's almost again the crazy sign gets put on our foreheads, right? Where it's just like, all right, simulation. But it's not like it's not like a video game. You got to go deeper, man. Go deeper. And it's all the thing where it's like, but I do understand. Is like, what are we supposed to just stop and not go to work and
Did he say we're controlling ourselves or something like that, or we're being controlled? And it's like,
yes, by all these different these races that are out there, we are like being somewhat like
manipulated or something.
Yeah, manipulated. Look, like we can go back to the Nephilim, right? Which is the breeding between angels, which is the Anunnaki in the Bible, okay, with humans. Okay, they became the Nephilim. Eventually they wiped out that civilization. I mean, not all in one swoop, but most of them got killed, right? The giants. Okay. And then they created another race, the smaller that are easier to control. Genes have been pulled from them, so they're not as strong as the giants were. They don't have Zeus's electricity or these gods that were back then. They don't they're easier to control and get them to conform and to put into line. To maybe for energy harvesting. I
think we create our own prison in a sense because. If they start telling us how to think and what to believe through like religion or something like that,
right,
it literally puts us in a box of limitations, and we can't unless we reprogram our minds or instill like better, more empowering beliefs. We're still stuck in that artificial prison which we created basically, and we adopted.
Yeah, which is kind of scary because after knowing that situation, right? After knowing. Okay, what if that's true?
It's true.
But I mean, so what does that still mean for us, though?
It means
like,
we're trapped.
And so that's kind of gloomy, right? That's kind of like doomish. Like that's very.
Once we're aware of that, we can change it.
Oh, of course. I mean, but I don't know. It's still. To what degree? How much change? How big can you build your house? How like what?
Anything's
of course.
That's where it comes into
maybe I'm being a little the
mindset of like anything's
negative,
possible.
But
like there, you can let go of all the limitations and adopt an unlimited mindset, and you can start doing magical stuff. You can do stuff like telepathy. Like, did you watch those?
I want to fly. That's what I want to do. It's like
anything's possible.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the telepathy tapes?
The kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's non-verbal autistic kids are able to do telepathy, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. Another one I saw is these kids that from India. They're actually able to move things now. Like some of them are actually able to move things.
I think I've shown you some videos where I was practicing stuff like that.
Yeah. It's very, very cool to see that. Like, and I don't know, like maybe it doesn't move me as much because I mean, I'd be like, why aren't I trying to do these little techniques on? I'm focusing on the mind right now.
Yeah.
And opening and because I feel like in the morning, it's the most closed, and every day working on. Opening like that aperture that you were talking about, that lens that just opens wide, and I just feel like by doing that it helps me reach out or extend my aura or extend my magnetic fields, right?
Yeah,
it's a muscle, right? I got to work it out.
It's definitely
I feel like that the more I'm able to reach out, or the more it extends, the more I'm able to feel and then I don't know, maybe it'll unlock something else, but the whole reaching into somebody's mind or moving an object, it hasn't really. Every so often, I guess I'll play around with it, but I don't practice it too much.
Was because I wanted to see if I could do it.
Yeah.
And I had a deep understanding of how reality works. We're in an ocean of energy. My thoughts can connect to other things. I just have to focus on it.
Right.
And I can project my energy towards that thing and manipulate it through visualization.
Right.
I was very strongly in tune with my energy. I could feel it, just waving my hands. I could feel the energy flow back and forth.
Yeah.
And I could project it through intention.
Yeah.
And I felt like Goku in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
That's Goku over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's test this out. And I started playing around with things. I'm like, okay, let me try to grab this and just pull it. And I did it on a very small level, and it actually worked. I'm like, holy shit, this is legit. This is real. The world's much more magical than I originally thought.
Yeah.
So I did that. I practiced for a good 6 months or so. I got good enough with it. I let it go.
You kind of let it go. It's like lifting weights, though. Same thing. I mean, I'm sure you probably trying, other things, right? Well, I think one of the techniques was something very light, right?
Yeah.
So that you can at least see that it's hey, something's there. And if, that might excite you to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Just starting out with something so small. I was watching Phenomenon with what's his name, John Travolta.
Yeah.
And he does that too, where he's in there and he's spinning the sunglasses on the table, and everybody's like, "Wow, how do you do that?" And he's like, "Well, it's just it's a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
You have to ask it." And he's just doing it, and I'm like, "Okay, asking it." So I'm asking, I'm asking the drink move for me. I'm asking for. You
have to connect to it. You have to connect to it and extend your own aura around it, and you have to visualize what you want it to do. And as you visualize it, it manifests. It happens.
Right.
But I'm affecting the energetic aspect of it, and whatever if you can affect it energetically, it'll manifest into the physical, which sounds crazy to people who do
right, yes, but I don't think so. But it's a matter of so that's why I stick to the mind right now, because if you can work on the mind, I think it's it just, like I said, it may open up something else later on. You know what I'm saying? I think it's it's so funny how I reference movies, and I feel like Hollywood knows these things. They just know, that, and it's almost like a slap in the face. It's hey, let's make a movie about it. Because they're Silicon Valley, I feel like they're tied into some of the deep state. They're tied into some of these people that know things. I mean, and with them knowing these things, it's hey, that would be a great movie. You know what I mean? It's just for them to just go out there. And so when I see movies, I'm yeah, they know. So I've always had this feeling of, just like I said, when we were talking about X-Men, when I brought that up, they have a little, or Stranger Things. That's developing little kids. You start them off early, right? Mm-hmm. Why would you develop that? Oh, so that they can fly the spacecrafts. I mean, because they've got smart metals. They've got smart, when it comes to the alien crafts, you have to be able to talk to it to fly it.
You have to have your psionic abilities developed.
Yeah, you fuse with the craft.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, which is wild. It's these craft are supposedly they're consciously controlled.
Yeah, and so that's why them developing kids and hell, if I knew a craft could fly by mind control, I'd be we need to get some pilots. We gotta get some kids. Let's find out who the psychics are right now out there, the hot ones. And
that's basically what they were doing.
Their tree line of their ancestry and stuff like that.
That's basically what they're doing with calling in these crafts through a dog whistle. It appears, and then there's a psionic asset which psychically connects to these craft and lands it.
Yeah. Makes sense, man. Yeah.
Supposedly these whistleblowers, this is their tactic of grabbing these craft.
Grabbing the craft, bringing them in mentally, psychically. Yeah. Which is so it's something that's been here for the longest time, and that's why it gives me that notion of man, there's we were meant to do it's just that they had it just like genetics. There's some people that just have bigger muscles than others, and I don't know, somebody has good hair versus another. Some people are just, but but we still have hair. Well, some of us still have muscles. It's just not as, but we could, train ourselves is my point.
I feel like we were like limited at some, or not limited, but like we were taught differently. We were taught that this does not exist, and therefore what you believe to be true will be true for you. Like,
right.
We made this. So you literally have to change what you believe about what you can do in order for that to, before you can actually do it.
Right.
Like when I started doing all this stuff, like telekinesis a little bit, I had to strongly believe that I could actually do it. I had to have faith before actually like seeing it happen.
Yeah.
And only before once I had that enough belief that I could do it, it happened. But the moment I stopped believing in it, it was like it shut it down. I couldn't do it until I had to try. I had
yeah, you can build it back up again.
It was all belief, and that's
yeah.
It sounds crazy to a lot of people. Our beliefs literally are creating our reality. Whatever we believe to be true, we will see reflected out into reality.
Right.
And we can limit ourselves.
Yeah.
We can limit ourselves so much.
So why wouldn't we be able to call that, like, it's what I try to tell, my kids, because they're my students, right, in the sense of life. But I mentioned this to other people as well. Why can't we call those, like, that's a super human strength, right? Like, don't you know, like, and I think I've talked to you about this too, but the creative mind, the ability to go into your head and create and see a cup, right, in your head, mm-hmm. and it you'll put water in it, and then you go and you make it, right? Like you just like, who else can do that? Make that imagination is a power, is my point. It's just because you can't see it and feel it and stuff, and it's just gotten to be so. Yeah, so what? You made something, and it's like but you don't understand.
First, it was in the mind.
It was in the mind, and it came out of Now it's a skyscraper. Now it's a freaking an airplane, right? Now it's a that's like it's godlike almost, in a sense, where you're creator. You have that creative ability, and not just anybody has that. And I feel like it has to be gotten excited about, right? Because where it's like, watch me create this, watch me create that. It's a power that no one really has. And if you were to get psyched about it, like, you would be like just an awesome like person that creates things in your life. You know what I mean? If you got excited about it to where you said, like, nobody has this power, man, check it out, and I'm gonna do this, and this is my power, and they grow up as kids, they're like, nobody has these powers, and you have powers, and you're like, but we're saying words like power, like, you have strength, and you have this, and this is your ability to create, versus like, here, learn this and learn this number, and this 2 + 2 = 4, and versus like, this is a beautiful power that you have, and with great power comes great responsibility. Okay, little Bobby, and what you need to do is make sure you use your power for goodness and not for evil. If we're all having those conversations with people, like,
it sounds just like manifesting.
Yeah, it is manifesting. It is like that charge that we're getting to create and to do these things that I just feel like you're born, and then some families are just good luck, and we're just trying to survive. Mm-hmm. Like, we're all just trying to, like, get by, get up, and go to work. Like, we're all just trying to just run on fumes, and just, I'm supposed to do this and I'm supposed to do that. Versus, like, the mind is a very powerful thing. How are you going to use your mind, man? Like, what are you going to do with your mind? What are you going to do with that power God gave you? Like, what do you, like? I don't know.
You gotta wake these people up.
Yeah, it sounds.
That's how things are created. It starts in the mind. You visualize it, and you start taking action towards it.
Right.
Basically.
Right. Like,
it always starts in the mind.
It does.
I feel like the reality is mental. It's all mental.
Yeah. It's all at it's all at your, I was gonna say fingertips, but I mean, you get what I'm saying. It's all right here. It's all. This has changed for me too, where it's like, they say that this is, consciousness is not even here. Consciousness is like, is been said to be, right? And I kind of like this concept where it's like knowing, feeling, it just feels right. Like what? I can't tell you. I can't describe it. I can't weigh it out for you. I can't explain. I can only give you like right now. It's probably the best way I can do is give you an idea by how I speak. These sound waves that come out of my mouth. At least you can hear me get excited, and it kind of feels like this, and it's just like, but boom, when it hits you, you can feel the energy on that. But if I wrote down little symbols to describe, you wouldn't even have an idea of like, I'd maybe give you visuals, right? It felt like a big light, but it was just real primitive. But all I'm saying is consciousness, it's within that feeling. Mm-hmm. Like that's part of consciousness. Like that is consciousness, a feeling in a sense. Like you just know and you're connected and it, and it fluctuates, like it doesn't have to be like a good feeling, a bad feeling. It's just all of which it is, it is what it is. And that's where we're at right now. I feel like that we're talking about energy fields and consciousness, that it used to be people like on I don't know if you ever watched podcasts over the past couple of years, but everybody's talking like the topic is consciousness. What is consciousness, right? And so physicists are out there trying to give equations and to go into what is consciousness, but they can't do it. Yeah. And one scientist, which is Federico Fagan, he's like, no, like it can't be measured. You can't measure it. So therefore, it comes first.
Yeah, it's foundational.
Right, it's foundational. But now that they're talking about it is my point, rather than for years, right? Einstein for years before that, Newton, all these people were trying to figure out, but it's like the shift, right? It so happens to come around now. So now we're talking about it in reverse, right? God. And so now we're starting to, right? And then you and I are talking about it, and then, and it continues to grow and grow.
For the longest time, people thought it was, or think of it as local, that the lump of fat that is our brain is creating this consciousness.
No, we're all in the field. We're all in the ocean of like being. I can be anywhere at any time, potentially. Like
you can shift and just like remote view, basically.
Remote view, exactly. We know that CIA used stuff like that. We know that they use that for spying. We know that they use that for out-of-body experiences, and so it's been documented. So we know remote viewing is a real thing. Is my point.
Yeah.
So that even proves the point to where the field, right? The quantum field is what one scientist.
I kind of like understand reality through an understanding of quantum physics, where we can quantumly entangle two things if we focus on it, or we can. Like remote viewing, that's how remote viewing works. Or like telepathy, it's like I can connect to you and kind of like deeply connect to you and transmit thoughts. Right. If we were both practiced at it.
Right.
Quantum physics explains reality pretty well, I think.
Yeah. I agree. When you like, say for instance, you're like, I don't know, when you were somebody long enough, right? You eventually start flowing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And when you start flowing with somebody, that means that, energies are starting to exchange and creating something, right? It's creating something. And that's, to me, is being in flow. And then, I don't know, like it kind of, it allows you later on at any given time where I'll be like, hey, talk to you at random, be like, hey, don't forget, I don't know. Just
that's where people would have those like, random thoughts pop in their mind.
Yeah, where people would be like, man, your ears are burning, right? Because we were talking about you, or you know what I mean, or something like. I have that, by the way, with my customers. Their face and their they'll pop in their body or whatever. They just pop into my head, and then within 24 hours, I'll get a text from them. Sometimes shorter than that. I'm just saying. Typically, I'll get a text from them saying, "Hey, I'm getting a haircut." Like they were when they popped into my head, they were probably thinking about me about getting a haircut.
Yes,
is my point.
Yeah,
it happens a lot. So there is something there, when it comes to us tapping into each other.
We're in a field of energy. It's like much more magical than what people could even imagine. And they just have to. They can start to understand it and work with it, and utilize it in their life. It's here.
Yeah, and it starts somewhere, right? Like it's like I think in order for us to have gotten here, like it all starts with self-awareness.
Yeah.
Like who am I? Studying yourself, and then you start opening up more and more, and it becomes more and more, you'll find that it leads to the spiritual aspect of it.
But I think another key aspect is you have to let go of all the limited beliefs and programming that you've adopted along the way.
Yeah.
If you can like ask yourself, who am I, and kind of understand that, and like, okay, this isn't me. Let me let all that go.
Right. Who am I? Then you start leading. What's my purpose? Like, what's the purpose here? Like, what am I? And then you asked that earlier, and it goes into learn as much as you can about yourself, and then it learning about yourself leads into others as well, are included in that. Like, how you react to others in this, circle of like, family or.
And it makes life much more fun, I think, because
it does.
If you can see a broader aspect of reality, if your awareness is like pretty large, then you're going to have more positive experiences than negative experiences for the most part. And until eventually it's just, you're going to have nothing but positive experiences. Like that's kind of how I am these days, is that I can see, I try to find the good in every little thing I do, even if it was considered like a bad experience, I'll find the positive in it.
Yeah.
To the point where I don't really have a lot of negative days anymore. Like,
yeah. As
long as I can stay in that frame of mind.
Right. In a world like today, there's a lot of stuff going on out there. But yeah, if you practice just trying to, not let things bug you so much. But back on what you were just saying right there, I mean, staying positive and opening up your mind and so forth. It's like, I don't know, man. I felt like it's all baby steps. It's all part of like, that transitioning of letting go, right? It just slowly starts to happen, but you got to be open to it. And
it's scary.
It is scary
for people like to be open to something different. Like, people are so secure in a certain way of living, and they get that secure, like their foundational understanding of reality from like religion or other institutions.
Yeah.
And that's their rock. That's where they feel really comfortable, and it keeps them safe and stable. Yeah. So like to adopt something else is incredibly fearful, because you'll be on shaky ground for a while.
Like, what is this? Like, it's just, what am I standing on? This feels weird. Like, I don't and they got to adapt to it. And like we're doing, I feel like all up until here, we've been just putting like, okay, this makes more sense to me now, right? Consciousness is this. And then all the little building blocks, and then eventually it feels a little bit much more solid, and it's just all those little things start to happen. But in order for it to stop, right? Like you said, you gotta let it go. Ego, you gotta, that's selfishness, to be honest with you. Like selfishness is, people get it mixed up. Know yourself, but some people say you gotta be a little selfish and you gotta care about yourself right now, and I guess a good word, but it's also a bad word, at the same time. So you gotta be careful. So if you're so selfish with things, like us sharing right now, that's for me to know and not you. I'm gonna allow you to keep falling, like I'm ahead and he's not, and. Selfishness or I got something better than you do kind of thing.
Okay.
And I'm keeping it to myself, and you becoming a gatekeeper in a sense. There's a lot of different things that, but I've learned these things. I've unlocked these doors, but I'm not going to tell you, how, because I feel like it might bring me down. Right. Or I'm not,
You'll have competition.
Right. Like things like that,
like you want to keep your whatever you got. So you can like keep, like you said, keep.
Yeah. And so just things like that. And then it can spring into other things, right? Like I don't care. I want this no matter what. And I don't care if it affects you or anybody around me. Right. I want this. I want to drink, and I don't give a damn who I'm pissing off. Or I want these. I don't know. I want to do something so selfish that it's like it's gonna piss my parents off because they're telling me not to get it, but I don't give a damn. I'm gonna get it no matter what. You know what I mean? Or my spouse says don't get a motorcycle, right? And I'm like, I don't give a damn what she says.
Yeah.
Because I want it, But meanwhile, we're practicing, consciousness, and at the same time, like just getting rid of that selfish attitude is one where it's like I had an actual conversation with somebody about that, about a bike, and just real quick, as a fact that he got it, and I helped him realize something. I go, and he's like, she doesn't want me to get it, and blah blah blah, and I was like, okay. I go, why do you think she didn't want you to get it? She thought I was gonna hurt myself, and right? I mean, and I was like, okay. I was like, yeah. I go, and so what does that mean? So I kept him going. He's like, and he was he was having a hard time. I go, maybe because she cares about you, and if you got hurt, it would hurt her deeply to see you hurt, and she loves you that much. She doesn't want you to get hurt. And I started just giving, just dropping that all on him, and he's just, and it's like, when you understand that, just, man, she must really love you because she doesn't want to see you get hurt. You got somebody there that really cares about you. Now, on the other side, there still is somebody that wants to control the finances, right? And maybe she's upset because you spent our money. Yeah. But it didn't sound like that, and so that's why I was like letting him know that, hey,
I think that's part of the game of like Earth here, is that we have all these challenges, whether it's like being selfish, or like learning how to overcome that, or like guilt or shame, or these different things,
right,
that we can overcome, and eventually we become better people, and our awareness expands. I think that's just part of the game.
It is.
You got to learn. It
is part of the game.
Some of us take longer to.
They do. They take the long way. That's the timeline shift. I mean, sometimes you can, bring that back, because you took the long way.
And to speed up, expand your awareness. You can speed it up a bit.
Yeah. Speeding that up. Like, I don't think people understand that. So, for instance, me going sober, it sped a lot of things up for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I went through some things to where if I was drinking, I'd probably still get some things done. But out of, a year, right? It was 365 days. And, if I have more productive days than you do, like, I'm going to get ahead further than you will. I'm going to take care of things a lot. I'm going to work. So in the barber industry, at first when you're becoming a barber, you're like, man, I made, sometimes we get in competition with each other if you're working right next to each other. You see how many clients this person's getting, and but the difference is it's not about like how great of a week you had or a month or something like that. It's how good of a year did you have. Okay, so if we look at money, you may be like turning heads and heads and getting people in there left and right for a good month, and then all of a sudden you got nice and fat with that money and you took a vacation because you wanted, you were tired from overworking yourself, and but I'm steady there every day, taking my normal days off, and steady throughout the year, and we look at our checks. I guarantee you I'm making more than you because you're out fucking off with that money and you're buying stupid shit with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's but those sitting there thinking like, oh, I'm better than you, and and I'm making more money, but it's like, man, come on, like, it's perception, and yeah, that's the wise person. That's the growing up. That's the understanding the broader, right? The broader. When you're small, man, all you do is just like, hey, what's that? Hey, what's this? Oh, wow, I love this. This is great. Hey, what's up? And everything. Oh, I hate that. Or like, well, fuck this. And like, everything's just so quick and over. Like, same thing the way that we look at, scrolling and shit like that. They just, what's next? What's next? What's next? But it's like, hey, that all that scrolling is fucking you up. Like looking at the broader, and you're spending more time on your scrolling rather than, are you learning anything? Like, are you, but I just feel like that when you're younger, but as you start to get older, or if you're around somebody that can help enlighten you, that's part of it too, right? The self-awareness is just, are you looking at things in a broader perspective, right? Because you got to start like zooming out, right? Where you're always staying zoomed in.
So where do you think we'll kind of shift a little bit?
Yeah.
Where do you think we're headed in the next few years? Like collectively, I guess. Because you see things that other people don't see. I feel like
where are we headed? With AI and all that good stuff, that's part of the mix. Okay. Like that's part of where we're going. We're going into a time to where it is going to be very creative, very chaotic, very distracting. It's gonna be a shit show, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. So? Yeah, because I studied the internet. Like I say, I look at it and I feel like, and my son was like, well, that's just the algorithms because you're looking at something and it's gonna, no, bro. I look at a lot more than just, I'm aware there's algorithms. I'm aware that this is put in my face for a reason. Okay, but I still listen to what they're saying. I listen to what perspectives there are, and so I feel like things are gonna get super chaotic because. One, I told you that we're in this battle right now. Okay, it's a battle. It's a battle for Earth. Okay, and I don't think people understand that. Like the president we have right now, or just a president in general for the United States, should be the ruler of the world. Basically, I mean, it's kind of always had that. Not always, but you get what I'm saying. Like, we govern quite a bit, and you see these tactics with tariffs and shaping other countries and trying to put peace in other. I'm not saying it's all great, right? I'm saying that his influence, his ability, right? Our president, not the one now, but yes, he happens to be a president. But all of our presidents have potential to persuade the world to go a certain way. Yeah. Okay? Like it has that much power. Where we have nuclear power, we have our economy. They need our economy because we eat up everybody else's, goods. Right? So that makes them rich. Like they need us. And so we not only do they need us to protect them, they need us to elevate their countries as far as resources go. They need us to buy their shit. Like they need us, right? And so if you use that power right, you can influence the world, right? And where we were headed, there was a lot of people that didn't want this president in. Yeah. Okay? We can know that for a fact, right? Yeah. So some would say that the media is, the media ran the country as far as ran our country as far as narrative and that was the I don't want to say it's a carrot. What do you call something to where it's like, hey, let's swim this way. We're going that way. We're going this way.
Distracting or
just they dangle the carrot. Okay. Like they get us to move in a certain direction. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the media was able to do that for the longest time. I mean, you've seen glimpses of it where they talk bad about marijuana, right? You see the old marijuana commercials and,
they lie constantly.
Yeah, they show somebody, looking like all evil and that's going to be you as, a vampire looking dude when you smoke marijuana, and this is Timmy before and this is Timmy now, and bad things, but they've always done it, right? The power of influence through TV is nothing new, okay? And that's all I'm saying. We're seeing that they're losing that. So you got Colbert that was just...
he's fired.
Yeah, they canceled him. He's got one more year, but he wants to be fired. He's trying to do a bunch of stuff to where he gets kicked out. Then you got, I hear The View is on the chopping block. You had all these, okay, you had Don Lemon, right? He's gone, right? You can go over all the reporters that owe him money, Trump money, now in lawsuits. 2020 had a situation, okay, with lawsuits. My point is that's fractured. That's all part of the media. That's all mainstream media anyways. Yeah. So it's fractured. So would it be safe to say that they use that technology to get us sheep to go where they want us to go, right?
Definitely.
So they have to get their grips back on us again. Mm-hmm. And the only reason Trump won this election was because of the podcasters. Yep. Okay? There was people out there, and I was saying it earlier.
Rogan especially.
Yeah, they were exposing them. But they didn't. They were so out of touch. The media is so out of touch that they didn't realize that these podcasters were doing that. Like Joe Rogan has his say in it, like persuasive with people. And then you had Theo, and then you had all these Devon Corey, I think is his name. But all these different podcasters that would show clips of politicians saying one thing now, and then showing what they used to say before, and it's clearly the same thing that this president's been saying now. So it's hypocrisy, right?
Yeah.
So they're showing that thing. So now they've lost it, and so what do? They've got to get their podcasters, right? They've got to get control of they've got to buy their way back into that. They got to get into the realm of internet now, because they weren't using internet as a tool. Maybe they were, but not like the way it went down
So
for.
they lost their influence.
They lost their influence. So what they need now is new influence. You simplify. I'm glad you said it like that, right? Long story short, right? So they need new influence. How do they do it? What's the new influence?
Well, currently people listening to podcasts, and then for the most part, social media like TikTok and other sources, I bet.
AI.
Oh.
We're going to get into, I was just telling you, things are going to get chaotic. It's going to be the realm of what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
On a mass scale. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, voices over, talking heads, sounding exactly like the actual, podcaster.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we're already seeing that, where they're able to manipulate voices. You get people that calling you on your phone, right? Nobody's talking, but you're saying hello, hello. Well, they're recording your voice, in my opinion. Like, that's how they get your voice now,
So you think they're gonna like utilize AI to create like mass, I guess, try to influence people's
confusion at first. It's confusion, because when you confuse people, they're easier to control.
Oh hell yeah.
Right? I mean, divide and conquer kind of thing, right? Like, it's one of those, you confuse the shit out of them. Nobody believes or trusts anybody.
Well, that and fear, like put people in fear, and they're like, it's so easy to control.
Yeah, it can even get to the point where podcasters are talking shit to other. It happens now, but they start having internal wars, and things like that, and it starts to turn into other things.
So it's happening already.
Yeah, it's already like
it's a small level.
You're right, and that's why I say I studied, and that's what I see already. It's already it's smaller. It's micro, right? Eventually it'll become macro. And so that's where I see chaos is going to come. And, where we would need something to help us come back together eventually. But, the sky's been falling for years now, right?
Yeah, every year it's like the end of the world. There's something big.
The end of the world. The stock market's gonna, it's gonna collapse. COVID, like the sky just continues to fall. So this whole era that I was talking about is gonna last for a long time.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be like for 4 years and then, no, it's gonna be to the point to where everything is. We're gonna love it. By the way, we're gonna hate it, but we're gonna love it. Because AI is allowing us to go in there. Like, who do you think is... There's going to be bots, of course, but we're going to go in there and start creating bullshit too,
Yeah. I've seen these gorilla videos where he's just acting like a crazy gorilla, and like police are chasing them. It's just... Have you seen those gorilla ones?
I think I know. Were they hunting at one point?
Yeah, they were hunting.
And
they started a whole series of these like videos.
Yeah.
Of gorilla. It looks realistic too.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it too. So it's very, so somebody else would be like, man, that guy's got a good one. And I'm going to be, instead of being a gorilla, I'm going to be, I don't know, an otter, a cute otter that shows up and eats ice cream with everybody. I don't know, like
and
something.
I definitely see it more and more. And like older people, for the most part, are the ones that are, well, I guess it's everybody now that are like buying into these videos as if they were true. Like some of these AI created videos. That's
the scary shit about it. That's when my mom, right, is like, she can't tell. I mean, it's gonna take people with a good eye, so I get it. But yeah, it's the people that what is it? The boomers?
Yeah.
I mean, it's them that's just like, how long are they still got? They're going to be out there, and they're a large force to be reckoned with when it comes to, voting or laws and stuff like that, but they're the easiest to persuade. They're the easiest, like you can't get them to shift and be like, when you start talking to somebody like that, they're like, huh? What? Like, they're just like, they just can't grasp it.
They're like, I know what I know.
I know what I know. You know, that's it. Like, where are you? And then they look at me with this face of like, where are you getting this from?
Yeah.
Who's telling you that? And it's like, man, they're just not aware of the internet in you know, sources of information now. You know, the source of information has changed basically from.
I think that's a good thing though, because
Yeah.
it used to be just
yeah.
like one source, which was just the news or like official news. That was the only source
Yeah.
for a long time. And now people are getting their news from other sources, which is like not controlled by, let's say, the CIA or FBI or whatever. They're
Right.
not being influenced
Right.
To a degree. I don't know. They might be a little bit now, but
There's too much of it. Like, like, so for instance, like it's like a dam, right? Like, you know, that dam held everything in, all the secrets and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then when the internet came, it's like a crack, right? And then over time, another crack, and they put their finger in it, right? And finger in it. You run out of fingers, and it's just all coming out. That's where we're at, where it's just all just coming out, and you can't stop the flow of it.
and you can't gaslight and manipulate people or control people as easily if they have all the information.
Right, exactly. So what do? You just throw in bullshit in there as well. That's
yeah.
how you. That's the point of chaos, right? So that you know, one would always contradict the other, and just constant like what you know, and
That would confuse people for sure.
yeah, that's so it's going to be a confusing time, and it's going to be. But again, it'll still be great for others, but for people that are like truth seekers, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to, you know, it's going to be it's a pain in the ass, basically, to scroll and sift through the garbage that's out there right now. You know?
Yeah.
You want to learn something? Well, man, I'm there, like, you know, and it's like, it's taken a lot longer to learn things.
It's like you have to really vet that source of information too. It's
Right.
like, because it could be dangerous to just accept any random information. I'm saying dangerous, like financially. Like I would watch these like financial gurus on TikTok, for example. And in the beginning, I believed 90% of those people. I would believe them in what they were saying, and I would take actions based on what they were saying, and I lost money.
Right.
I lost like a good amount of money to where I was like, okay, screw all these guys. I'm not going to listen to any of these people anymore.
Like Kramer, or what? I mean, like, was that one of was it financial guys like that, or just anything in general? You're speaking in general.
Just these TikTok influencers with a lot of followers,
Yeah.
and supposedly, like, I don't know, not Kramer. I know you're talking about like CNBC or something like that.
Yeah.
No, just random people. I'm like, okay, I'm going to trust this random person. I don't know why I did it, but I would trust him, and I would make my decisions based off that.
On the stock market?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stock market, cryptocurrencies.
So a lot of them were just bullshitting.
They're just bullshitting. They're like, oh, it's going to crash. The Bitcoin's going to crash. Sell all your Bitcoin before it's too late.
Yeah.
They sell the fear.
Yeah. There you go. And you see it on there, like the headlines. They started getting me, where it's like, you know, pay attention now, right? Exclamation point, or it's over now. Like, or something. It's the, like, you know, just everything that's just to get you to click on it.
And people will believe that for a little bit until they get burnt enough.
Yeah. I started realizing that when we were talking about when Biden was in office and we were waiting for the we were going to go through I don't know why I can't think of the word.
Recession?
A recession, yeah. And I mean, just constantly, I was, you know, listening and waiting, and it's you know, it was the real estate region that was fighting it the most. You would hear, and the commercial real estate was the biggest, and that people were going to start defaulting on loans and stuff like that, and still nothing. And you had people on there that would say, no, this time, oh no, and then months later, oh, no, this time we're getting closer, it's going to drop, but after I started realizing that these guys are all in, this is what they've always been taught. They can't go back now. Like, they have to keep saying the sky is falling. So you got to pay attention to
Fear sells.
Yeah,
It's so attractive to people. They're
Right.
like, oh, what's the next thing? What's
Right.
the next thing? Do I got to be afraid? I don't know. I don't know. I was like that too when COVID was starting to happen. I got so addicted to what was going on in China. I saw it before. It was actually a big thing in America. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's this virus in China, and it's spreading like wildfire. This is like what happened 100 years ago. So I saw it before it was happening, and I guess, you know, this was useful information, but it put me into a state of like, okay, I got to prepare now.
Right.
Get my mask, get my food, get everything in order, and That wasn't too healthy.
No, it wasn't. I talk to people, and when I get given haircuts, some of them are like, yeah, man, I got a pallet of ammunition at home, and I've got cans and shelves of food, and they're ready to go for D-Day. They're ready for that, the apocalypse, and there's a lot of people out there, but it's like there were some signs that I was like, maybe I thought you should pay attention and just go buy some water or do something like, stock.
Toilet paper.
Yeah, toilet paper. Yeah, that's the main thing, right? Like, and I did it, and I was like, man, and this was almost a year ago, and here we are, like, and even, yeah, like I just feel like.
So the path we're going on in the next few years, you're seeing that we're going to have a lot more of that, a lot more confusion, a lot more
uncertainty that could lead us to uncertainty that could lead us into, like, we're doing it ourselves. I even catch myself doing it. It's the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like uncertainty. People still. We still have politics when it comes to red versus white people. I'm sorry, red versus blue people, right? It's like, man, nobody's like, they need to get rid of those colors and just be an individual and pick any side at any given time. If you like what they're saying, but as soon as you start, putting yourself to, like, I'm in this crew, or I'm in that gang, or like, you're setting yourself up for something that has been shown to change through the course of time. Like, the views of one side will always end up changing. So if you're neutral and you just go with the flow, right? You get into flow, whatever's good now is what I want.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, it enables me to see both sides too, because if I pick a side, it's like I'm judging the other side, and I become blind to their perspective. So in order for me to see both sides, I have to be like, I see it like a fence, and there's a fence dividing two sides, and I'm standing on the fence, and I can see both sides very, very easily.
Yeah, you can see both sides from that point of view, and that's the way you should keep it. Like, because you don't want to miss out. If something, starts to change on one side, you can get out. You can be ready, right? Anything with having to do investments, if you see something happening, right, that doesn't look, I need to get out and shift. You need to shift. You need to pivot. You need to, shake and bake. I don't know. You got to do something. But staying in this old way, and that's what I see the future as well. Like, I see, like, so the interest rates and so forth. We right now we're like at 6 or close to 7. What are we at?
Pretty high, yeah.
Right?
I think at 7, yeah.
Other countries, what? They're at 4, maybe 2%.
Depends the country.
Yeah, but I mean, they're lower than we are. Is the point?
So, what do you think people should do with that? With what you just mentioned, like that there's a big shift coming, or
so financially too is what I mean. Like, you're seeing Bitcoin come on it. Like, that's money's going to change the way we do business and stuff like that. So I see a flow. We're entering a flow process, and you need to sync up with it. You need to get in flow with things. Nothing's like, I'm here and this is where I'm going to stay.
Yeah.
You're constantly adapting, moving,
pivoting.
Yeah, the stock market's going to change more so. We've got younger people that are into that stock market now, and so they affect it, right? More so. Definitely. It moves so much more than it used to. So get used to that. So Powell would be, getting back to the Fed, right? As far as like interest rates, like eventually the way that I see it happening, that is going to shift. It's going to go up and down. So the right person in there would lower it. Everybody start buying, right? But you got to shut it off a little bit. You got to shut it off for a little while, right?
Okay.
Right? So everybody's like, oh, chill out, because if not, they'll just keep going, right? It'll get us right back in the same situation.
Yeah.
So I see it as it's like it's going to open up, and then they need to they're going drop rates, and then you need to raise them up again to shut it off, right? Get people to chill out, and then you go back into a pattern, right? Up, down, up, down,
so don't
up,
be
down.
stagnant. Just kind of like go with the flow and like
right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I think that's what I see the future as. Just like,
be ready to adjust.
Yeah. As of now, this is what we do. Right. It's always at this time. Like when I worked for AT&T, that was a motto there. The company changes, right? Like, things change. If you're always thinking that everything's going to stay the same, come on.
You're gonna be left behind.
Yeah, you're going to get left behind. So you always need to have that mindset of as of now, this is how we do business. And so whenever you see a new change, instead of being like, man, I don't like change, and it's like, okay, well, how do we adapt to it? Where's the carrot at now? Okay, they moved the carrot, right? So, which is they moved where our direction is going to go. Where do I see, where do I see the flow of money? Where do I see?
I can kind of see that with like, this is slightly different, but a lot of people are told how to live their life. Like, okay, go to college, get a job, get married.
Yeah.
And
even that's going to change.
It's going to change a little bit. You don't necessarily have to go to college. Maybe that's not the path that would lead to success for you. So kind of maybe challenge yourself and maybe make your own decisions and kind of evaluate what's actually happening out in the world and adjust. And
yeah, because I see trades coming in. Trade schools are going to start popping up. Yeah. We already saw that with Boeing and Hallmark, right? So Hallmark is aeronautics, as far as like installers of plane fabricating, places. So Boeing signed a deal with Saudi Arabia for 150 jet planes.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're going to be Boeing's got the contract. Okay, and so we've got some Boeing industries here in San Antonio. We got some places, and I started seeing Hallmark Institute pop up, and I hadn't seen Hallmark in a long time. Like Hallmark, and so they're promoting plane fabrication, technicians and stuff like that. So I feel like we're going to start seeing more of that in this country, and so trades are going to be like, it's just something. Like I have people that go off and say like, what are we going to do with what are we doing when it comes to assembly line, production line stuff? What are we going to do with that? Nobody wants to work in those kind of places. Yeah, if you look at it like, like old school where just somebody's just there with the stamp and just, putting a sticker on a I don't know, a lemon or something. I don't know. Just if you just look at a conveyor belt style, it's like, no, what today's manufacturing plants look like is you're a technician fixing the robots that are in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're fixing hydraulics and stuff like that in there. You're paying attention to any potential situations that may occur within. Same thing for any steel manufacturing, anything like for instance Ford, right? When he was making cars back in the Model T. If you look at that plant versus you look at the plant now, do they look the same? No. So when people go in there like, oh, this dude wants to bring in, manufacturing jobs and stuff like that, they're starting them from scratch, and there's a new, way of building them. Like you got Apple that's over here, right? You got Cook that's talking about from Apple that just signed a deal to bring jobs over here. We're going to be making touchscreen glasses here.
Yeah. So
50% of the glass is going to be made here now.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think Trump had something to do with that.
Yeah. He brokered the deal. I mean, I'm sure they got some sort of exemptions, right? A whole bunch of exemptions.
So go with the flow, make adjustments as you go.
Yeah.
You'll be okay.
And you'll be okay.
You'll be okay.
You'll be okay. But knowing that like things are gonna, but easier said than done, right? I gotta follow my own advice too, because there's times where I do get drained and I'm seeing like civilization is going in a bad direction.
I see so much changing right now, especially with AI. It's moving so fast, and I'm trying to keep up with it. I'm trying to learn like ChatGPT, like all the different AI apps coming out.
Okay, so what have you been using it for?
I use it to help me do just basic stuff, like help me do my taxes. I was helping it help me write, like I had to dispute tax increases to my house, so I had to like
your exemption.
My exemption, so I had it create that for me. It created the PDF. I gave it all information. It created for me, and I sent it off.
So it was able to bring up the PDF and you could download it, like it filled in the blank for you and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I have it create contracts for me every so often. I have it write stuff for me. It does a lot of, it makes what I do a lot easier.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's an assistant right now.
Yeah.
But as we go, it'll be able to do more and more and more. And eventually it'll replace people's like everyday jobs.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, some jobs can be replaced with this. Like I hire people. So I can.
Yeah. The tax accountants right now have a guy that I cut his hair and that's what they use.
ChatGPT?
Yeah. They use, they use their own, probably a much more secure source, but he tells me that they just go over it now and make sure everything's where it's supposed to be.
It's very helpful.
Yeah.
Like just like even like categorizing transactions. I'm like, what is this? And it tells me what category I should put it in, just to like help me like go through stuff a lot faster.
Yeah.
But I feel like, AI's changing and coming out so quickly that it's going to, if you don't stay up with it, you could be left behind, and that could be a dangerous position to be in if, potentially you lose a job because of it.
Yeah. I see that. I can see that. I was scared of it, to be honest with you. I'm always scared of something new, putting my information into something new. Mm. I always feel like, what's the government trying to do now? Like, what are they trying to, they're trying to, I was like that when it comes to vaccines. I'm like, I'm not getting that thing. Like, so, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like when it comes to, if you don't know it, you could miss out on a lot, but opportunities. It's not like,
like with Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin was a thing, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, whatever it was. It was a while ago. And so many people put it off as like just nonsense or a pyramid scheme. And even today, like they don't understand it. And it's like one Bitcoin is worth, I think, it hit $120,000 for one Bitcoin. Mm. And it's increased, like every year it increases hundreds of, like it's a new way of transacting. It's a new way of doing business, basically.
Right.
And it's been adopted more and more by financial institutions.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate thing now.
Yeah.
And if you're not like keeping up with stuff like that, you're going to be left behind. It's like, I feel like it's sort of a transfer of wealth as well, because a lot of people who aren't like taking advantage of that, they're going to lose out. They're losing out on all these gains. It's huge gains.
Right.
But I feel like there's a lot of stuff like that going to come out over the years.
When it comes to AI and so forth.
But if you can go with it, you'll be in a, I guess, okay place.
Yeah. I have a lot of people that come in and they're excited about it, and they're trying to go to little seminars on how to, trainings on how to, what you can use it for and so forth. Yeah. And then you see commercials on YouTube as far as like, and they come out and say, did you know, if you're using AI for this, you're not using it to its full potential, and, you're still, like I use it right now just for making, like writing songs.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I put a chorus in there and I ask it to finish the song, and I give it I'm like, give me a little bit more words that rhyme, or shorten the phrases up, or, it's pretty cool. Now, it helps me be creative where I'm skimming through. I'm like, it doesn't sound like something but it helps me kind of have little breakthroughs, and then I can, use it for that. But yeah, it's all being creative. And then I too, when it comes to taxes, I went in there and I was playing around, and it said, sure, let me help you fill this out. And I was like, but I didn't get the PDF. I don't know how I maybe didn't ask it the right way. But it told me just line for line, I'll tell you what to put in each line. Nice. Is what it did. So
I feel like we covered a lot of different topics here.
Yeah.
A lot of different things. We've kind of gone all over the place, which is great.
Yeah. 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 I'm new to this. And so,
No, that's perfect.
Coming up with, some good topics, I can even, piggyback on a lot of things we said, but I'm happy with just some of the things that we went over. Were quite a bit. It was quite a journey.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I mean, that's it. I mean, so for the most part, it's pretty exciting to get out there and get out here and say what comes to mind. I do feel like it is, like earlier on when we were talking about this, is like getting all of this into something. I feel like I just dropped something in there, and I feel like I don't want to say it's draining, but I felt like I just gave a little, dropped the box off somewhere, and it's like, I'm gonna feel a little lighter right now. So it is probably pretty neat doing podcasts, and
I love it.
Yeah,
just talking about things that are, I guess, interesting, and like the people who will find it, it's the right people will find it. I guess. Yeah, they're ready to hear it.
Yeah,
and it'll resonate with them, and I feel like a lot of what you said will resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah, hopefully so, and I hope to develop my own podcast as well. Soon, and who knows, maybe I'll see you again.
How can people find what you're doing, or if they want to know more about you or whatever, connect with you if you're interested?
Well, yeah, right now I've got Chris San Miguel YouTube available, and I think I'm going to branch off of that. So going to see me on San Miguel, Chris San Miguel on YouTube. And then, yeah, if you need a haircut, you know, you can come to, go to San Miguel's Barbershop online. You type it in. You can book an appointment with me. We can chat then.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, yours.